Okay, these are the few strategies we'll actually talk about. I will actually talk about the self-financing plan. Ken will come and talk about rental play, and John will jump in on how to be a multi-property owner, and I end off talking about this thing called margin on REITs. Okay. So now for my part, I just want to use Excel to actually show it's easier. What I actually want to say here is this. After buying property, it should not be the end, especially if, let's say, for example, your property is for you to accumulate wealth. There are actually a lot of things you can do to make your life a lot better. Can it definitely be done or not? May not be, but if you plan, when you actually go into the property at time, you have this thinking. Okay, if you plan, if you try to do it, you may actually achieve it. But I'm quite sure if you don't plan, you don't care, you will definitely not achieve it. Okay, so this self-financing plan is basically give the idea of, after you take the loan, you don't have to worry about the loan. Basically, you have actually do it such that your loan is actually being financed by some other places, and you are stress-free. So again, my point here is this: is it confirm you can do? May not be, but if you don't plan, you can never get it. So let's say now you actually have a HDB, 600,000, and either that in your CPF or in your cash, you actually have a $12,000 cash. Okay, and of course, assuming that this HDB is fully paid. So let's say what you do here is this: you go and upgrade. You actually go and sell your HDB and go and upgrade a new property. You just have to down pay 300,000. Okay, after stamp duty and legal fees. Okay, you have to pay an upfront of 335,600. Of course, you'll be actually taking a loan about 900,000. Okay, assuming you can borrow for 25 years. And let's say interest is 2.5%, you actually have to pay about $4,000 loan. Okay, so in this self-financing plan, what we are trying to achieve here is this: how do you remove this stress of forking out 4,000 every month without a second property? So this is what you can do. Okay, after the whole upgrade, you realize that you actually have more cash. Assuming now you have 200,000 only, you sell your HDB. You sell your HDB. It will actually release cash for you. Why? Because when you actually pay for next property, you only need to put only 335. So you actually release about 200 over 1,000 here. So after the whole exercise, you have about 464. Can you see here? 464. So if you have to this plan, first thing first, don't go and spend too much money on renovation. Don't go and spend 200,000 on renovation, so and so forth. Keep cash. Okay. Then of course, okay, this is what happened here. So if you can, you still use your own income to actually pay for the loan. Okay, use your own income to actually pay for this loan. Okay, then after that, if you can, after your income pay for loan, save about $2,000 every month. Save about $2,000 every month. And if you can actively invest this amount of money, 464, 400 plus 2,000 every month, if you can actively invest this amount of money at 6%, 6% return, okay, what we want to say here is this: if let's say this amount of money grow up to 807,510, okay, and if you continue to actually achieve 6% return, 6% of 807,510 is actually equivalent to about $4,000 per month. Okay, and our point here is this: once you hit there, okay, the dividends from here can cover your mortgage, and technically, you can actually say that you have paid off your property already. See what I mean? And you think about this, in fact, if let's say everything goes smoothly, 464, you save 2,000 every month, and this amount actually invest at 6%, you only need about 5 years, 5 years to achieve this. So technically, you just pay for your property for 5 years. Then after that, your property can be self-financing. I know that okay, it may actually sound too good to be true. You know, there is a lot of challenges involved. How do you actually get 6%? So the idea here is this, you know, we actually want to plant some ideas into you. Okay. Again, I know I'm repeating myself. If you don't have this plan, you will never achieve it. But if you have this plan, you work towards it. Yeah, maybe that we don't hit 6%, maybe we only can hit 5%, whatever. Okay. Or either that maybe you cannot save 2,000, you can only save 1,000, whatever. Okay. But point here is this, if you actually slowly work towards this, right? You will be able to subsidize this payment no matter what with some form of dividends from here. And instead of taking 25 years to actually pay off the loan, technically speaking, once you actually achieve this state, okay, be it 10 years, 6 years, 7 years, once you achieve this state, the dividend from here will already pay off your loan. Okay, then you have lesser stress. Don't have to stress for 25 years. You actually cut out your stress by maybe 10 years. Some ideas you can consider. Of course, again, if these are some of the ideas you're interested, you know, during the 1-for-1, okay, we can actually delve into details deeper on, you know, how to implement such ideas. Any question for me for this part? Anybody, any questions? Okay, if no questions, we're just going to give you more ideas. I'll just pass on to Ken to give you some of the ideas about property strategies, different property strategies you can play. Okay, now, Ken, please.
Okay, thanks, Imin. My part here, I want to talk about rental play. Okay, so rental play. Okay, let me just get it down first. Okay, so what does this mean? Okay, of course, when we talk about rental, we have talked about actually investment already. You actually had an investment mindset. Of course, there are more ways that John will share later. My part is more about the very standard one. You buy a house, you want to rent, but what's the real max behind it? Okay, what kind of mindset should you have when you go in? Okay, why people say, oh, rental will very good lah. You know what's so good about it? Okay, because if you look at it, there are some changes for this market compared to last time already. Okay, now let's look into this. So for example, okay, you are buying a property 1 million. Everything is simple figures lah. 1 million. Then my initial investment, my down payment will be 250,000. Let's say I got an interest rate of 2.5% and my tenure I can loan very long. Okay. My monthly commitment to the bank, if I buy this house, is about 3,000. Okay. Now, so far this is a standard. What if I ask this question? Does it make sense for you to rent a place? Okay, buy a property to invest if your rental can only fetch 2,500? Yeah. Does it make sense? Maybe one, if you feel it makes sense. Two, if you don't feel so makes sense. You can type on the group chat. Yeah. One, if you think that it still makes sense. Two is you don't make sense. So agent also say don't make sense. Yeah. Most people will say don't make sense. Yeah. Yeah. Because really don't cover already, Oh, in the last time market, right, it actually can cover if you realize I think eight years ago, yeah, you buy property can cover. Of course, very good. So moving ahead, should we be looking at rental properties or not? Since it don't make sense already, should we still look at rental properties? Yeah, something to ask ourselves. So actually, what is the maths behind it? So whenever we want to do about rental, right, we want to understand how does people think, how does the people who invest, who really know what they are doing, what is it behind their mind works. So I give you an example. Okay, so this one, remember you have this Excel sheet that Imin passed to you. So I just do a screenshot and show you all. So for example, just now that case, right? Okay, I am borrowing 750. Okay, so for example, this is my figures. I probably my monthly commitment is about 3,000. Now let's look at this interest payment and principal payment, which is what Amy has shared yesterday. So I just do a quick recap. So the interest payment, right, is where you pass to the bank, you know. This is to the bank. Your commitment is this much, but this is the bank. So the principal, right, is actually your money. Okay. So over time, right, okay, you are actually saving this every month. That's why I call it the forced saving every month. But the lovely part, if you can see it, is every month, right, your interest is getting lower. You are paying lesser interest every month. Okay. So what is the real maths here? Let's look at it. Okay, your forced savings. Okay, it's like a business okay, because you know that principal is your forced saving, you can take back. So your real cost is actually the interest only. Okay, so for example, make it simple. So this is your commitment. Your real cost is your interest. Your forced saving, this is good. This is to you, back to you. You are saving this. Now, so every month, my rental is 2,500. So my tenant gave me 2,500. So in terms of business mindset, it is a business revenue. Okay, so I operate this business, every month I get 2,500. What is my cost? Every month my cost is 1,500. My interest So every month I pay 1,500. Someone give me 2,500. My profit is 1,000. So let me ask you, your ROI is about 66%. Yeah. What kind of business can we really get 66% return of interest? Provided, let's say, you really get this tenant every month. Yeah. So I think in terms of this, it's also a bit of business mindset. So help you understand how does the real math going on behind. Okay. Let us carry on. Yeah. So I'll ask you a question. Do you think you yourself build your asset alone is easier, or someone build with you is easier? If you think it's the first one, you put one. If you think it's the second one, you can put two. Yeah. So most people will put two Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. So it's rental is more like, you just continue with your normal life, knowing that someone else is building the asset value for you. Okay. So you see, another concept about this rental is using other people's money. Okay, how for younger people who cannot use the CPF, right? There's a way to structure it in a way that we cash out a bit. Okay, so these are the maths also lah. So for your understanding, I just want to run through. So you have a seed inside, we plant a seed inside, and say you understand. So my revenue is 2,500. My commitment, yes, is 3,000. Okay. My CPF OA, let's say you're one person, and then your income every month you put in 1,000 from OA. Okay, so actually you are using the 2,500. Okay, that 2,000, right, you pay to the bank. This money come from your tenant. Okay, so you are only using your CPF money plus the money from the tenant to pay to the bank. Then actually over here you still cash out about 500. So in a way that we actually take a bit out from CPF but we still, the CPF is still inside the house. Yeah, it's a way that you can look at it. So for rental, if you look at me, if you ask me, these are some of the benefits you can actually gain from rental properties. But of course, it must be done with a lot of prudence. Okay, it's also done in the with the assumption that the house that you are staying, right, is taken care of already. You are going for the next property to invest. Okay. Now, so I just want to share that this whole thing, a lot of times, like, we think that it's actually quite hard, to own second property or what. But on the ground, okay, actually, quite, I would say, it's not that difficult as you think one. Okay, it can be done quite easily if you know what are the methods. Okay, so really keep it simple. I just want to share one typical approach. Okay, I think this is I'll be very happy to share. This is a blog from my one of my customer last time. He wrote a blog and then he sent it to me. I said, hey Ken, read this. After I think 3-4 years later when they settled down. So I'm not saying his name lah because confidential. Yeah, but this is where you can read about how common people can actually do something like that, and is it that difficult? It helps us to say, hey, actually, if it's not that difficult, right, then what is the way? Can I find out how to do or not? So you see over here, you can say that, hey, actually the wife and him got married. Actually, they are quite simple people, they are simple folks. And then, one day their friend just talk to them and then see how to extract the value and so on. Quite investment centric for them lah. Yeah. So he actually went out to find out lor. So he verified with me lah. So he said, hey, actually his figures, right? Actually, I told him quite feasible, and he will do it without much stress also. So today he's enjoying a rental income and having 2 properties. So you can take a look at this article. I think you all have the website. Just have a read to have a feel. But what I'm trying to say that, let's say if you already got a house already, they could have some you could be sitting on some profit already. So how can you actually use that profit to roll into maybe a rental property? Okay, that's more on my side. Maybe I should pass to John.
All right. Okay. So before I begin, can I just say let's drink up a little bit of coffee so that I have an easier time. Let's just drink up a little bit. I always have this strategy because Emin trained me very well. Always put me in the afternoon session. So I learned to be smarter now. Okay, right. Okay, so take your time, drink up a little bit. Okay, my side is going to be exciting. Okay, no roller coaster, but I'm going to share a few strategy and concept. So make sure you open up your eyes and ears. All right. Okay, I will not repeat one more time. Repeat one more time. You mean you charge them one more time, right? Okay, just joking. All right. Okay, so we'll begin now. All have a coffee, all done ready, right? Okay, just hang on. I can't share. Okay, I will share my screen. Just hang on. Share my screen. Okay, everyone can see this? Everyone can see, yeah? All right. Okay, slideshow. Okay, start. Okay, good. Okay, so how do we own multiple properties? Okay, right. Who want to own multiple properties? Can you type one in the chat group? Who wants to be a multiple property owner? Well, it sounds like those kind of hosts. Who wants to be a millionaire? Right? Who wants to be a multiple property owner? Right? Okay. Wow, I think I don't get a lot of response. You mean I'm not excited enough? Okay, I try again. Okay, who wants to be a multiple property owner? Please type one in the chat group now.
I help you. Jang, jang, jang.
Okay, right. Okay. I must share that because I also a multiple property owner, so I understand the stress. I understand the hassle that you have to go through. I also understand the first time I put my money down for the second property and how is it like. Okay. In fact, even when I put down the money for my first investment property, right, I tell you, the heart is really feeling something different. Okay, because you must understand, being a property agent, helping people to buy property, and I myself go and buy the property, the feeling is totally different. Okay, and being a multiple property owner and telling people how to invest in multiple property also is a different thing, right? Okay, so but I went through the whole hassle, I went through all the risks, and I understand what happens. So I'm going to share with you, okay, what are the different ways you can own multiple properties and what are the good and bad points. All right. Okay, so today I'll be very objective. Good, I'll say good. Lousy, I'll say lousy. Okay, can I have that agreement? Oh, good, right? Okay. In fact, if you are depending on me to tell you how to own multiple property without money down or risk free, all this, sorry, I'm going to disappoint you. Okay, I'm more realistic. I'll tell you how to own it safely, so that if something happens, you can still go about your daily life. Right? Okay, let's jump in. first, why do you want to own multiple property? Okay. Okay, maybe I can someone share in the chat group, why do you want to own multiple property? We have a faster pace, so everyone won't sleep. Right? Okay, why? Come in the chat group, why? Why would you want to own a multiple property? Anyone want to share in the chat group? Or unmute and just stop? You mean I think the afternoon session is going to be tough. Yeah. Anybody, come. Why do you want to be a multiple property owner? If nobody wants, I can pang gang now. Anybody? Come. Everybody so quiet.
We type already, passive income.
Oh, passive income. Okay, I didn't see my chat. I don't know why. Okay, passive income. Okay, this one. Okay, correct. Okay, today I do enjoy some passive income because if I believe once I finish paying my installment, by the time I'm maybe age 65, all the rental that's been coming has become my passive income. That's one of the reasons I own. Second, of course, my tenant is helping me to pay off the property. Like just now, they can share that actually, when the tenant pays the rental, okay, part of it does it goes to your principal payment, correct? Okay, your installment, let's say 5,000, let's say, okay. Let's say the tenants pay 4,000 of rental, correct? Okay. What happens is that you only come out with 1,000, correct? Well, the other 4,000 come out by who? By the tenant. So total yes is 5,000. Yes, you still cover 1,000, but the other 4,000 is paid by who? The tenant, and the tenant help you pay off your property. Okay, would you like okay, maybe ask Patricia, would you like to have be working on a job whereby someone help you to do half the work but you get all the income?
Of course.
Of course. This is the concept. The tenant is helping you to save money. Correct. That's why if a tenant is working hard every day, out in his job 9 to 5 or maybe 9 to 9, I don't know how long hours they will work, and at the end of the month they bring the money back and pay you, right, for the rental. Isn't that fantastic? They're helping you to accumulate. This is also one of the reasons why I want to be a multiple property owner, because I only got 24 hours. My tenant give me another 24 hours, correct? I got more tenants, there's more 24 hours I can leverage. Okay, that's the reason why I want to be a multiple property owner. Right, next, of course, I can leverage. Okay, in property investment, we always talk about leveraging. So what is called leveraging? Okay, example, if I buy a property today, how much down payment do I need to pay? Can someone tell me? Today's down payment is how much? 20 what? How many percent?
25.
25%, right? So I put on 25%. If the property market goes up by 25%, my profit is effectively 100%. Because I only put down 25. I make 25. So total, I'm 100% profit. That's called leveraging, correct? Because the rest I borrow from the bank. So in fact, if I have 2, 3, 4, or 5 property, right, I'm actually more leverage. Means I can actually get a better return. Of course, the other way around can happen. If I don't plan well, the leverage can work the other way. That means I will magnify my loss. Okay, but this is the reason, because I want to have more leverage reason. Next, legacy. No, I'm not sure about the rest. I got 2 kids. I got 2 very active boys, and every day when I work, I always think about them. At the end, why do we work so hard every day? You go out, your boss talk to you not nicely, or your customer treat you like shit, correct? You go through all the work, what hassle, about what is the main thing that you really work for at the end of the day? At the end, I work for my family, correct? People scold me, okay lah, correct? Because I know my kids, I need to take care, correct? But we work so hard because we want to give a better life for our next generation, correct? So one of the reasons why I want to be a multiple property owner is because I want to have a legacy for my children. I got 2 kids. I hope to leave 3 property for them, if not 4. You see, so this is one of the things that people want to own multiple property for, right? I move on. Okay. Of course, do ask yourself this question: is it necessary first? Okay. Multiple property ownership doesn't suit everybody. Okay. I've done hundreds and hundreds of financial planning in terms of property portfolio planning. There are some that I tell them, hey, you keep your HDB, you take your money, go and invest, find EMIN, and make the money. Okay, there are people like that. There are people that I met that are just bachelor, they got nothing, they don't need legacy. Their 3-room flat or 4-room flat is generating enough sufficient income for them. In fact, I tell them you don't need to actually take additional risk. Okay, so multiple property is ownership is not for everyone. So just now when you all don't reply, I can understand because not everyone would prefer this concept. Okay, but of course here we want to share with you in case you want to explore this idea, how can you do it? All right? Okay, I'll jump into the next. Okay, so how to own it safely? These are the three main things that you must remember. Okay, number one, you must do your proper financial planning. Okay, meaning can you afford the installment? Will you be able to loan it? Okay, number two, risk management. What if something happens to you, foreseen or unforeseen? Okay, market crash, you lost your job. Let's say tomorrow I'm not too well, I couldn't carry on my current job. Okay, do I have a risk management strategy in place? And number three, how do you plan for the strategy? Should I do decoupling? Should I do this or not? Okay, so these are the three main things that we always look at before we look at multiple property ownership. Okay, so this, if you want to explore this concept in our 2-to-1 session, okay, these are the things we will cover. Okay, we'll cover whether should decouple, whatever, and all that. Okay, in a multiple ownership planning. Okay, so far, anyone have any question? Okay, am I too fast? Because I get excited, I tend to run away. Is it too fast? You mean is it too fast, or you want me to slow down a bit? Good, okay.
I think it's okay. Yeah.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
The next thing we want to explore is the concepts. Okay, you must remember concepts are the most important thing before the numbers. Okay, so the first concept I want to ask you. Okay, can I ask everyone? Please vote in the chat group. You mean help me read the chat group what they answer. Okay, would you like to have an interest-free loan for 30 years? I offer you $1 million. 30 years later, you will only pay me back $1 million. Okay, if you would like to have that, you type a yes in the chat group. Anybody?
Okay, Vivian said yes. Michael said yes. Heiko said yes. Pat Wong said, Adrian said yes. Xiaoyi said yes. Everybody said yes. Yeah.
You mean do I sound like some kind of Along? Some kind of money lender. Okay. So is that even possible? No, I give you an interest-free loan for 30 or even 20 or even 10 years. Is it a very good deal? You mean is it a good deal?
Of course.
Good deal. So how can we actually do this? Okay, let me show you the first concept. It's called dual key ownership. Okay, for those who don't understand why it's called dual key, let me just explain first. Okay, somewhere in time Singapore actually has this implementation of this cooling measure called additional buyer stamp duty. That means if you buy the second property, you got to pay additional taxes, right? Okay, so the developer are very clever. Okay, because if I own 2 properties today, do I have to pay additional tax? So will the buyer less likely to buy another property? Correct? So what they do is they put 2 properties into one and then sell it as 1 property, but you own 2. Okay, this concept is called dual key concept. Right? If you look at my slide, you see this layout of a typical 4-bedroom unit. Okay, do you see when you enter through the door? Do you see here? You have 1 door to a studio apartment. That means it's a bedroom and a toilet, correct? Then the other side is a 3-bedroom. It's like a normal, sorry, I should say 2-bedroom. 3-bedroom, sorry, 3-bedroom. It's like a normal 3-bedroom apartment, correct? Do you see that? Okay, but do you see, I can actually put a second door here. I got 1 door here, 2 doors here. Every door I need a key to open, so this is called a dual key. Do you see that? So I can buy this property and rent out this portion, the studio, cannot? And then I stay in here, cannot? Or can I buy this property, I stay in the studio, and I rent out 3-bedroom, can or not? Can. Okay, this is called a dual key concept. Okay, so you say, John, then how does this got to do with interest-free? Okay, let me just explain the concept now. Let's say I buy a dual key, all right? And assuming I take a $1.2 million loan, can? Okay, just by simple calculation, my interest at 2% for 1.2 million every year is about 24,000, am I correct? Okay, so what if I can rent out the studio at 2,000 per month? Correct, for 1 year is also 24,000, correct? So who is paying for the interest? The tenant, am I correct? So am I getting the loan from the bank interest-free? Do you see that? You're only paying the principal. Any amount of installment you pay now is only the principal. Okay, so in the dual key concept is whereby I need to stay in a place, and I don't want to buy another property because I have a lot of taxes, am I correct? So I will buy a dual key, rent out the portion. It's just a renting room. But the good thing is, in a room rental, your tenant need to go through your house. Okay, is it very inconvenient or not? Imagine you've got family there, then you've got one tenant, then every day walk in, walk out, walk in, walk out. Or some tenant after shower don't like to wear the shirt, then walk in, walk out. No, not very nice, correct or not? But in a dual key, you are separated. Okay, and of course, one good thing is if a tenant don't pay your rental, you just go over next door and knock. Correct, you can collect your rental, easy to manage. All right. Okay, I don't know whether that's a good point or bad point, or anything problem they also come to you very fast. Okay, but this is the concept of dual key. All right. Anyone has any question?
Hi John. If
Yes.
this dual key concept, why wouldn't the government know like it's a sort of a loophole and then they like, I don't know, intervene or something?
They know, and they allow. Yeah, if not, this dual key has to have been stopped for a long time. Some of them could be, some of them buy dual key for not for rental, but for 3-generation living. The grandparents stay in the studio, then the family stay in the 3-bedroom or the 2-bedroom. Reason being because just like sometimes is your wife and your mother-in-law cannot be too near and cannot be too far, yeah, sometimes we'll have friction and all that. 一山不长二虎. One mountain cannot have 2 tigers, correct? All right. Okay. Any more questions?
John, so is the dual key always packaged like next to each other, or it can be on different floors of the private condo?
Okay, it's usually on the same floor, usually. Okay. But there are some apartments, it could be a penthouse apartment, but you can actually change it or renovate it to like a dual key concept. You know what I mean? So you can
So
rent
they
out.
will offer this. They will offer this to you like during the viewing or the so-called when you are going to buy the place.
Yes, that's right. That's right. That means during the initial launch, you'll say, okay, this is a dual key unit. Then you look at the floor plan, how it will be like, and then they will tell you, this is the dual key layout. Yeah. Okay, it's catching popularity. It's only after when the ABSD started, then this dual key come in. If I'm not wrong, the first few dual key is at this condo called 8 at Woodley. It's at Potong Pasir area. This one of the first generation of dual key units, right? Okay.
Okay, unit is like a new sale kind of thing, or it could be a resale. But if it's a resale, it has to be this person selling 2, so-called 2 at the same time, right?
Okay, this dual key is under one title, meaning this dual key is actually under one unit. That means one unit number. Let's say 0102. Okay, so this 0102 got this 4-bedroom inside, whereas the layout is such a way there's a studio one side and the 3-bedroom one side. Okay, you will got one common door to come in to the 2 unit, so it's called dual key. All right.
So John, is there a downside to owning a dual key?
Okay, wow, good question. Okay, well, I didn't prepare this, but never mind, I can still answer. Okay, there's some downside to dual key. Okay, let's say Imi is my tenant, correct? I stay in my dual key. So if Imin's like to party one, every night bring one new girlfriend to his studio, I tell you, no, I just live next door, correct? No? Then I got problem. Okay, of course, another question is, in this dual key, there's only one utility account, correct? There's only one internet account, right? Then how do we share? Right? Then how do I know how much Imin use as utility? Right? So there must be some pre-agreement. Okay, when you rent out. Or can you actually install a second meter or not? That is another question that we want to know. I think most of the apartments, you may not be able to install a second electrical meter or water meter. Also, it has to be like, I package the rental. Let's say maybe I rent Imin at 2,000 inclusive of the internet or the PUB, whatever. Right. So these are the downside I can think of at the moment. Okay. Hope that I can answer your question. All right. Okay.
Sorry. I understand there are some people they have jumbo flats, right? But it's actually like, I think they like buy the flat, but they like break down a wall or something like that, and then it becomes like a big one. Is that considered dual key or is still considered 2 units?
is considered is actually originally 2 unit. They just hack down the wall so it becomes one big unit, but you still got 2 door. Okay, so technically it can be actually be a dual key. No, like 2 3-room flat I knock down, right? Then I can rent out 1 3-room flat. The other side I don't rent out. Okay, I ever have one that I rented at Redhill. So the owner stay next door. They just, you know, the middle, the one that they actually knock out. They have sign on. They just go zzz, boom. That's all. Okay, so the tenant is one side, the one side. So it's a 2 3-room flat, right?
But that is also considered dual key. But is it considered a jumbo flat or is just considered a dual key flat?
Okay, I would say more like jumbo lah. Okay, in dual key we use it on private property. Then we say this is a dual key.
I see. I see. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Can you rent out both of the units of the dual key?
Yes, of course. In private property, you can rent out the entire unit, no problem. And you can choose to stay in either one, no problem. You don't want to rent out, also no problem. Okay,
No, I mean you can rent out to 2 different parties.
that's right. That's right. Because the keys access to individual main door. I know the units. Okay, I show the chart here. Okay, this is the main door, but the subsequent studio and the 3-bedroom, they have their how should I put that? How should I say that? The sub door, okay? Okay, the subsequent door, right? Okay, you have your own keys that you access. So in fact, quite a few dual keys unit in the market right now, they actually rent separately. One tenant here, one tenant here. Okay, right? Okay, so dual key, who is it very suitable for? It's suitable for people who can only afford this one property, all right, and or they want to buy property but they don't want to buy it under separate name. No, husband one, wife one. They want to all everything buy together, and yet they don't want to pay ABSD, right? So maybe they buy a dual key and they rent out one side. Okay, and yet they want to enjoy privacy, whereby when they rent out the place, no one walk into their house. Okay, this how a dual key that is suitable for. Okay, all right. Any questions so far?
There's a question from Adrian. Dual key only apply to private property?
Yes. I don't know HB whether they have this some multi-generation or something that has that, but I've not seen them yet. Yeah, unless you buy a jumbo lah. Okay, or some people may.
No, multi-gen don't have. Multi-gen is also you
Yeah.
have to go through one door, then after that they split.
Oh yeah, then.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, good. Any more questions before I move on?
Hiker say girlfriend also have to share. I don't know.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah. I can understand you. Okay? I can understand you. All right. Okay. I move on. Okay. Right. Next.
Oh, sorry. In fact, there's one more. Okay, how popular are dual key studio with tenants? Where can we find rental stats on dual key studio?
There's quite a few places you can find out. You know, like SRX. There's I think the main rental, I think you already may have, just that you have to look for the smaller size, not the big ones. How is it? Is it very popular? It's just like studio rental. It depends on the area. Some area whereby there's not enough studio or there's not enough low price rental, then people will want to go for it. And maybe I'll put it this way. Let's say if you go overseas to rent, you want to rent a room or you want to rent a dual key studio. Maybe a studio will cost you a bit more, but you got a lot of privacy. You see, you don't have to share a kitchen, you got your own little kitchenette inside. Okay, so there are some demand for this dual key unit. Right, but of course it depends on the area they are looking at. If I buy into a dual key in the area whereby primarily, right, there's no tenant catchment, that means there's no tenant that's doing rent from you, then you got a problem. Okay, so this one will go back to your master plan analysis, whereby you need to know where your tenants will be. Okay.
Maybe I just want to add on for that. Basically, from a tenant perspective, you don't feel that it's either a dual key or a studio. You don't see the difference at all, because to you, if you're a tenant, it's just one studio unit for you. Yeah, you don't even your it's just that your landlord is your neighbor. That's all. Yeah. Yeah, that's all. Just thanks.
Right, all good. Okay, now we can sip another mouth of coffee now. Okay, so you all can remain awake. Okay. All good. Okay, I move on. Right, the second concept I'm going to ask is how can I own a second property without selling my current one? How? How can I own a second property without selling my current one?
Pay ABSD.
Pay ABSD lah, correct. Pay ABSD. Is there a way to pay less or not? Can I pay less or not?
Used to be form a company lah, now cannot.
Okay. Come, let me share with you. You can actually do this thing called decoupling, provided you are holding a private property now, not HDB property yet. All right. So what is a decoupling? What does it mean? Let's say me and Imin assuming we're husband and wife. Okay. Yeah, even it sounds so gay. All right. Just for example's sake. Okay. Imin and wife, me are husband and wife. Okay. And no, we own let's say a big house in Tampines, and we got 4 children. Correct. Right, then we are so comfortable in this house, we don't want to sell, correct? Because if we sell, then we cannot find back the house, man. So what we can do is I can say, hey, look here, Imin, why not you buy over my share? Okay, I sell my share to you, my 50% to you, you buy over my share, and then after you buy over my share, I got no more property on hand, correct? So I consider no property. When I buy the next property, I don't have to pay the additional buyer stamp duty. Okay, for those who are not familiar with all these stamp duty, let me explain. As a Singaporean, if I buy my first property, I only need to pay the normal stamp duty. Okay, but if as a Singaporean, if I buy my second property, I have to pay this thing called the ABSD, which is called the additional buyer stamp duty. For Singaporean, the tax is 12% of the property price. Imagine I buy a 1 million property, I would pay how much? 120,000 of additional buyer stamp duty. That's on top of the normal stamp duty I need to pay. Right, so it can amount up to about 15 to 16%. Okay, quite a lot. Okay, so having said that, sometimes like me and Imin, husband, wife, got 4 children. We're so comfortable in this house, we don't want to sell this house, so we also don't want to pay that hefty additional buyer stamp duty, right? So what we do is one of us buy out. So now Imin becomes the full ownership of this house. We decouple, and then I go and buy another property with only stamp duty of about maybe 3 or 4%. Okay, so this is in short how it's being done. Okay, next thing, how is the decoupling done? It's actually done at the law firm. Okay, we actually send everything to the law firm, and before that, we actually calculate whether your loan all can be approved. Let's say Imin buy my share, he must have the money to buy from me, correct? He must have the loan to take over, correct? So all this has to be checked out before the whole transaction can take place. Okay, all right. Okay, let's go in. What is the benefit? You can actually potentially save a lot of ABSD. Okay, because now my name is out, I buy another one, I don't need to pay the 12%. A lot of savings, am I correct? Okay, next, okay, things to consider. First of all, should Imin buy from me or I buy from Imin? Which one? So Qiao Yi, let's say you want to decoupling, should you buy from your husband or your husband buy from you? Correct. How? Then how do I determine? Who should go out? Okay, a few things that we as a rule of thumb, of course, it's not always this case. Like for example, the next property I buy, right, is a bigger property. So the person must have the ability to service the loan. Am I correct? So maybe okay. Let's say me, maybe my income may be bigger, so I buy out. So Imin, you buy out my one current one, I go and buy that one, the bigger one, so that my income can support. Sometimes it could be the younger party. Maybe Imin is younger than me, correct? He can take a longer term loan, so his installment is smaller, correct? So maybe he'll buy out my share, and then Imin be the one who buys the next property. Am I correct? Okay, so you must understand who to buy, okay, and strategize. Okay, I understand it's very complex for you. Today I'm not going into all the numbers because it really takes a long time to understand the decoupling concept. But don't worry, I wrote a full calculator which me and Ken can share with you when we meet up, and then we'll determine you go out or he go out, who will have better savings, who will have a better case. You know what I mean? Right, so not to worry, but you must remember, before do decoupling, these are things you must bear in mind. Number one, who to buy which one, who should go out. That's the number one thing. All right. Next, stamp duty. When you buy out the 50% share of another person, you still have to pay stamp duty. Okay, let's say I buy out Imin's 50%, right? Okay, Imin is effectively selling 50% of his share to me, correct? Do I need to pay stamp duty based on that 50%? Answer is yes. They ask me, John, then why decoupling again? Because I only pay 3 or 4% of that 50%, ma. But ABSD is 12%, you see. So I still net off as some savings. Okay, so if you are doing decoupling in our meetup, we actually show you the actual number. If you were to decouple, how much is the cost, the legal fees involved, compare if you don't decouple, what is the cost involved. So which one is a better opportunity cost, all right? And move on. Next, you must remember citizenship. Okay, decoupling, we'll see who is a PR, who is foreigner. You must take note of it very well. Because let's say Emin is PR. I am Singaporean. Even in decoupling, Emin buy over me, you got to pay the additional buyer stamp duty for PR at 5%. Okay, so we also need to determine who are which citizenship. Okay, but if both are Singaporean, then no big issue lah. Okay. Then, of course, if you are going to decouple and buy a landed property, can the foreigner buy a landed? Answer is no. So you need to know. Let's say I have a condo, I want to buy a landed. My husband is from UK or my wife is from UK. Then I decouple the property, put under my wife, correct? And then I go and buy as a Singaporean the landed. Right. So citizenship is important over here. Okay. Move on. Can I leverage up after decoupling? Answer is yes. A lot of people don't understand this. No, let's say Emin and me, okay, we own a property now. Okay, we have almost fully paid. Let's say 2 million we fully paid. So when I decouple, he buy the 1 million from me, correct? So his leverage is only 1 million, correct? Because he buy 1 million from me, but can bank loan up to 75% of the property value. So he can still borrow up some more. Maybe he can take out another 500,000 out from this property and give it to me to buy another property, you see. That's called leveraging after the decoupling. After I decouple, there's asset for me to realize, equity for me to realize, I leverage up someone, take this cash to finance the new property. Or I take this cash as a buffer for me. In case something's happened, right, I got this 500,000 to slowly pay off the installment. Do you see that? So imagine how much work we need to put in behind in the decoupling calculation. Okay, move on. Okay, risk. What are the risks? Okay, every strategy always got the pro and the cons. Okay, must remember, not everything is perfect. No, it's not like fairy tale. They live happily ever after. Okay, that's in fairy tale. Okay, so there's always risk. So what are the risks? Okay, let's say today me and Emin we decouple. Okay, husband wife we decouple. And then tomorrow Emin don't like me for something, scold me. Wah, jalan. I stay in his house after decouple and he scold me. I go to solo, right? But one day I cannot solo, what happened? Divorce come. Then divorce come, what happened? Okay, argument will come. Wow, you mean the time you decouple, the value so low, not fair to me lah. Wow, start to argue lah. Correct? But the property belongs to who? You mean sorry, I got nothing to say, like, right? You see that? Also, lucky your spouse or girlfriend beside you. Guys, are your spouse? If yes, they learn. If not, then now you're upper hand. You should have the bigger one, bigger share. Okay, all right, okay. 教坏小孩子 teach the children the wrong thing. Okay, next thing, how about bankruptcy? Now after I decoupled, I give to Emin. Then Emin, thought he got a lot of money, go to NBS every night. Every night the what blackjack. Picture until no picture already. Jalan, right? Then what happened? Bankrupt. Then I lost my house. I got no place to stay. I decoupled already. So do you see there risk? There is. Okay, so make sure that these are all well handled. Okay. For us, we are very neutral. 好就好，不好就不好。Okay. Good, we'll tell you what is good. What is the concept, we'll tell you. Then who decide? Your CEO decide lah. You are CFO, give you options, and CEO you decide. Okay. So far so good. Any question? So far so good. Any question? Okay, now I move on. Right. Next, we also need to look at the total installment after decoupling. Why do I say that? Let's say I decouple, maybe Emin take a loan, correct? Because he buy my share, correct? So the share that he bought, he may finance with a bank loan, correct? Then I go and buy another property, correct? So now I got how many property? 2 leh. Am I paying 2 installment? Answer is yes. So what's going to happen? The total installment has it increased? Answer is yes. So what do we need to do now? Do your risk management. Okay, all right. Okay. Any questions so far? Any questions so far, anyone? I pause a bit. Okay, drink your coffee. Drink your coffee. Okay, relax, drink your coffee. All good.
Oh, agent say, how come my wife asking why are you teaching me the bad things?
Jialat. Adrian, we must have another coffee. With your wife, Okay. Right. Okay, to prevent misunderstanding. Okay, I move on. All right. Next, how do I increase the return from my property portfolio? How do I do that? This is one of the strategy you should take note before you buy any property. All right. Okay. Number one, how to get better returns? A few ways. Number one, I sell my current underperforming property. My property now maybe is only appreciating by 1% per year. Can I sell my current 1% per year and buy into something that can grow 10% per year? Can I increase my return? I can. For example, HB to private. Okay, you can sell one and buy one, or you can actually sell one and buy more. Okay, passive income from multiple property ownership, and that's what I want to do. Okay, let me share with you one very interesting concept. This is a concept that gets me going by buying profitable property, and which I think is more worthwhile. Okay, let me share with you this graph. Everyone can see. This is a typical accumulation curve of a person going for their retirement. When I start working, I start to save money. Am I correct? Do you realize as I age, I save faster and faster because my income increased, correct? I got more asset, I got interest. So I accumulate until at my retirement age, I got this amount for retirement, correct? Maybe age 60, age 55, or age 65, I retire. Okay, the moment I retire, do I still accumulate or not? Maybe not. Okay, I start to draw down, I start to spend, correct? And then this will come down until I spend everything, right? This is a typical retirement model, right? Okay, so what I do for myself today is again, instead of saving money into a bank, I save my money into a property, correct? Maybe this is $1 million. I buy 1 million properties and I slowly pay the installment together with my tenant. So someone help me to save again. Upon retirement, has my property been fully paid? Yes or no? So if I rent out this property every month, do I get passive income? Until I die, right? Will it run out? It won't. It won't run out like here because I keep collecting the rental every month, correct or not? Unless the property finish the lease or the property explode the next day, no more property. If not, I'll be keep collecting the passive income. Next, do you realize if I don't have a second property, can I collect passive income? No? I can't because I need to stay in one property. If this is my only property, how do I collect passive income? It's only when I have second one, then I can collect this passive income, correct? Next, okay, does property value appreciate over long term or time? No? So while I have a property compared to savings, my savings I will draw down, right? The property can continue appreciate in value in the long term. So I'm holding an asset, right? Next time, after maybe when I pass on, the appreciation asset, right, can help my next generation. And I tell you, my son will be very filial to me. Right? Wow. Lao Pa got this property waiting for me. I better, before he go away, better be nice to him, right? Right? Just joking. Okay. So this is my model now. Okay. I save into a property as my retirement fund and I get the passive income. And as it appreciate is my legacy planning. Okay, that's my concept. Of course, is this a fairy tale? Yes. You must know how to plan for this. Maybe some time you may need to restructure a property portfolio again. Right? Okay, this is why I want to own a second property. Sell one, buy one, or sell one, buy two. Okay, so what are the risks here? The risk here is, of course, not over leveraging. You buy one, you sell one, buy two, then you commit too much on your loans and you couldn't pay. That's one of the risks. Okay, so be very careful on that. Okay, all right, move on. Okay, any questions so far? I pause. Okay, everyone, the pace is still okay. I know I tend to run away when I get excited. Yeah. All good. All good. Okay.
Good.
Okay, one more mouth of coffee. Yeah, okay, I drink a bit. Okay, let's go on. Next, what you say, I don't want to pay ABSD yet I want to buy property, can or not? Cannot. I want to buy one more property, I don't want to pay ABSD. I don't want to even pay the stamp duty, cannot. Can be done. Okay, let me share. Okay. You can actually buy under trust. Okay, maybe I go before that. What is called a trust? Let's say today, let's say, okay, me and Amy, husband and wife, okay? We got 3 children. Okay, but both of us already got 2 property already. Correct? If I buy the next one is a third property, can how much the stamp duty for third property Singaporean? Third property.
15%.
15%, oh, is hefty, no. Then how? Then we say, oh, why not we buy under our children name? Because our children don't have property under them. Can I buy under trust? Answer is yes. That means I go to the when I issue the option, or I go to the developer, when I buy the new launch, I say I want to buy under trust. So I go to the lawyer office, you'll do a trust deed, and then this house becomes what? My children's house. Okay, all right. So my children have 0 property, so can he actually does he have to pay ABSD? Answer is no. Okay, but my question to you all, my children, let's say only 7 years old, can he be owner of the property or not? Type in the chat, yes or no? Tell me, type in the chat, yes or no? Before 21 years old, can they be an owner of the property?
Vivian said yes, Adrian said no, Xiao Yi said don't know.
Okay, the answer is no, they can't be an owner. That's why you have to put under a trust. Okay, that means I put in trust for the children, right? And take note, this trust must be an irrevocable trust. That means I put under my children, I cannot say, no, 1 year later, yeah, I regret, sorry boy, I regret, take back. No, once given, is given, okay? No reversal, okay? Because the government also know you give already, then rental you also collect for yourself, make money also collect for yourself, then it's not a trust one. So they know. So this is called buy under trust. Okay, so what are the limitations? Let me explain to you. When you buy under trust, the bank will not lend you a single cent. You must finance everything by yourself. If I want to buy this property for my son, it cost me $1 million. I must take out $1 million of cash to pay for this property. Okay. Can I use my CPF? No. Okay. Because CPF money cannot put under trust. Everything in cash. Cold hard cash. Okay. So is it a rich man game? Yes, in a certain way it is. Okay. Recently I did one for a businessman. Okay. Yeah, all hard cash. Yeah, Xiao Yi, you got something to ask?
Sorry, John, trust is only for children, right? And like it cannot be like parents, it cannot be, I don't know, grandchildren. It has to be children only, is it?
So
or
far
family members.
So far most people do for children that I see. And most people won't put under grandparents because there's some other risks involved. Okay. In short, trust deed can be done for anybody. Okay, under the legal side, trust deed can be done for anybody, but buying under trust usually put under our children. Because I don't think you can control your parents, then you can control your children, most likely. Okay, correct. And if you put under your parents and your parents pass away without a will, the asset will go to his estate, which may be your brother and sister. Then your money you give becomes all the other people's money. Okay, all right. And also for parents, you can actually have a direct ownership. You don't have to put under trust because they are above 21 years old. So you can even buy under your parents' name, and then your parents write a will. Upon passing away, this property actually comes back to you. You know what I mean? Okay, that will be another strategy you can explore. That means you use your parents' name to buy. Okay, but now we are talking about using your child to buy. It's called buying under trust.
But then sorry, if you put under your children, right? You have to wait until your children are 21, or they will just take over when they're 21.
Okay, the house will be under the trust management. you can be the trustee to manage the the income, the selling, buying, but all this money belongs to your children. It's no longer your money. Once given is given. All right. Okay. All right. Okay, move on.
John, there's a question from Heiko.
Yeah.
If let's say buy in parents' name, the loan can also be in parents' name or can be yours?
No. Now the owner has to be the borrower. Oh. Okay.
Okay, Heiko, so I don't know. Are you still asking about trust? You're asking about your
No, it's correct. Yeah, thanks.
correct. Okay,
Okay,
got it. Okay,
Right.
okay.
Next thing, do note the property count. Okay, sorry, my side. Wow, thunderstorm. Yeah. Right. So note the property count. If your children you got one, if you give him one more, it's two. So do note the property count for your children you want to buy the trust. Okay. Next. Okay. Any trust will affect the children's future housing. Because it's deemed that the children owns a private property already. So maybe at 21, he suddenly want to get married. Or maybe the wife suddenly, the girlfriend get pregnant, and must quickly married, right? Okay. Then what is going to happen? They cannot buy HDB, no? Okay. Based on current rules, they must sell their private property before they can buy the HDB. Right. So it does affect their housing options next time. Right. What if your child is unfilial? Wow, daddy, you mean give me $1 million? Wow, I reached 21 years old. Sorry, bye-bye. Bye-bye, father. I go and do my own things. Because, this money belongs to who? Your children. Don't belong to you, right? What if your children is a Spanish child? Wow, every day go, Marina Bay Sands, enjoy life. Then you got problem. Okay, so know your children, how is it like? Okay, next,
Sorry. Trust is only property, right?
yes, private body, HB cannot.
Okay.
Unless under extreme circumstances, maybe. Okay, I've not seen one on the trust yet. Okay, right. Next thing, income tax on trust is higher. If I'm not wrong, it's around 17%. Your rental income that comes in, all will be taxed. Okay, all right. Okay, right. Any questions so far on trust? Any question? All good. Yeah. Okay, so you mean the other day you talk about setting up 5 trusts, right? Oh, when are we going to meet again?
For you, huh? Yeah. That's for you. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, move on. Okay, one sip of coffee. One sip of coffee. Right. Oh, good. Hey, you mean I'm helping you get them to drink so much coffee so later your last segment they can stay awake. Later buy me $1.20 coffee, please. Okay, move on. Next thing, of course, you can own an overseas property without paying ABSD in Singapore. Okay, I myself have done that before. Okay, I've entered and exit successfully before. Okay, is it a very nice experience? I will say yes and no. Okay, let me share with you some of my concerns. Okay, number one, exchange rate. Okay, this is the double-edged sword. Okay, have you ever wondered why Indonesians like to buy Singapore property, even though you may not appreciate so much in Orchard? Have you ever wondered why? Currency.
Yeah.
If you look at Indonesia, the rupiah, right, against dollars, it appreciates about 4 to 5% on average every year, compounded. So if I buy this property for 5 years, right, it appreciates by let's say 4% each year in currency. I really make back how much? 20%. My rental you another 4% every year, right? My profit is 40%. That's why if I pay ABSD today 20%, I also pay as a foreigner. Do you see that? Also, don't underestimate exchange rate. London pounds, the lowest was about 1.7 to Sing, 1 to 1.7, about that, 1.7, 1.75. Today is about 1.8, correct? 1.8, 1.85, I think. Okay, so you see how exchange rate can actually change your profit margin. Can I imagine? I remember what Emin said before. Emin, you want to share about your Japan experience when you manage the big funds? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so of course, at that point in time, I was actually managing a Japan fund. Basically, yeah, it's actually a very simple story lah. The property actually didn't appreciate. That was in about 07, 08, and eventually we made money from foreign exchange because the Japanese yen actually go up lah. So that was my saving grace. If not, I'll be like fired a lot earlier. Yeah.
Okay, so don't underestimate all these things. Exchange rate can really give you a double return, but it can be other way. So this is the thing you got to manage in overseas property. Next, the opening of foreign account. Why, it's a pain, man, for me. Okay, because you must understand nowadays there's a lot of anti-financing of terrorism, correct? They must make sure that you are the proper person, and there's a lot of scam and everything. So when you open an account overseas, sometimes you need to fly down, you know. So imagine you buy something in UK and you need to fly to UK just to open a bank account. You know the hassle, right? Unless you know how to open the foreign bank account, that should be okay. And do note if you invest in China, can you bring your money back or not? That's another way. The forex, how do you bring the money back? Something to really think about. Okay. Next, this one I already say. Next, do you know this thing called? Do you know this thing called dual pricing? What is dual pricing? Okay, you know in Singapore, here got anybody sell overseas property? Do you sell overseas property? Should I say or not? You want me to say or not? You want me to say or not? I need to say I don't sure one. Okay. Okay, I just say just use my heart and say you know, when someone bring in a property to sell in Singapore, they sell up in the hotel, am I correct? Very nice lobby. You go in, got your very nice people to serve you. Okay, got pastry for you eat, right? Got tea for you drink, right? All these need money, you know. Needs stuff. So when someone bring in this project to sell, does the developer need to pay additional layer of money for those who bring in? Answer is yes. Okay, so there might be some price increase than if you go to the country and buy. That's what I mean by dual pricing. And the amount could be sometimes up to even 30%. Imagine I go, let's say Japan and buy 1 million, but I buy in Singapore is 1.3 million. Okay, is that very scary? You start already lose people 30%, right? Okay, so these are the things you really need to be very careful of. Of course, if you ask me, if it's giving me a lot of convenience, okay, let's say if I buy in Singapore, only charge me another 3-4%, okay maybe 5%, up to 10%, okay, I accept it save me a lot of hassle. But let's say the thing is about 30% and I don't have a chance to make back, right? Maybe I want to reconsider. Okay, so must remember this thing called dual pricing. Okay, so far so good. Anyone have any question?
Sorry, I still don't really understand the dual pricing.
Okay, maybe I put it again. I say again. Let's say I'm a developer. I sell a property in KL. Okay, I sell to people who come to KL and buy at $1 million. But let's say you're from Singapore. You want to sell you're the agent that want to sell.
1 million Sing or?
Let's say 1 million Sing
Okay.
Sell 1 million Sing let's say Chow Yi, you are agent in Singapore. I say okay, you can sell for me also. All right, but do you need to make extra now? If I won't, you want to take Singapore can, but you still must give me 1 million. Would you inflate the price so that you can earn a little bit more? So maybe you sell at 1.1 million cannot. As long as Singaporean don't know, they still buy from you. They're buying at 10% higher, am I correct? Do you see there's different pricing?
So as the agent in that country jack up the price?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. And you know, in Vietnam, if they know you are foreigner coming in to buy, right, they'll give you another price. Okay, they got 2 price lists, if I'm not wrong. Okay, that's what the agent there told me. If I've not transacted, I've not bought any property there yet, but some agents actually share with me their dual pricing. There's a price list for foreigner, there's a price list for their local. Okay, all right. Okay, if I'm wrong, someone please correct me. Okay, but that was my experience when I was in Vietnam about 2 years ago. Okay, I move on. Next, okay, how about who is doing manage your property? Okay, you have property in UK and the tax spot, who's going to change for you? Or who's going to make sure that every month the tenant pays rent and the rental goes to your account? How about the property tax and the maintenance fee? Who's going to pay for you? It's not Singapore like I do a pay now, finish. Wow, down there, then who's going to manage all this for you, correct? Oh, all right, note that. Okay, next, income tax and reporting. Oh, it's a pain also. Well, how do you report income tax? Or do you pay a tax accountant to help you pay? All right, okay. Are there any capital gain tax? Like in US, you know how much the tax for capital gain? Is it 2/3 or 1/3? I think quite hefty, right? Amy is trying to.
For US, is it?
Yeah, US. How much is the
capital gain tax?
Yeah.
Well, I can't remember offhand, but I think it's about 30 to 40%. Okay, withholding tax is actually 30%.
Okay.
Capital gain tax, I'm actually not too sure. Okay, I know the withholding tax 30%. Then the inheritance tax is actually 40%.
Wow.
Capital gain tax, actually, yeah. Sorry, I don't have it offhand. Yeah.
Thanks. So do consider these problems, and I got one thing that I haven't wrote down, which I just recall. What if I buy a property overseas, and let's say someone buy a property overseas and the person passed away. This property is under another country's jurisdiction, under another country's law. Your Singapore will don't apply then. It might not apply I don't know. Maybe UK say, okay, but another country may not apply. Then how? How? Okay, so all these are things that you really must consider properly before you go in. It's very easy for you to go there and feel good and just put the money down. But the back end is a lot of things that you really need to look after. All right. Okay. I went through the whole process. I understand. Okay, but why do I still go through? Okay, for two reasons. Number one, I also want to know what I have to expect. Okay. Number two, I enjoy the appreciation. Because Singapore, I have to pay, then the ABSD I don't want to pay, so I actually put in another country. All right. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay. Are there other properties that you can buy without paying FBT? Yes. Retail property, you can buy like Lucky Plaza, your shop space, your retail space. You rent to this handphone shop, whereby all the Filipino every weekend will come and buy from you. Or you rent out to a fast food restaurant, retail space you can actually buy. You can buy industrial spaces, the B1, B2s and all that. Okay, but be very careful, okay, because of because in industrial, there's a lot of things that are more complex than residential. For example, electrical loading, the floor loading. Okay, what can be used for, what cannot be used for. Okay, I move on. You can also buy shop houses. Along Boat Quay, there's a lot of conservation shop housing. You can buy one and then rent out to your alfresco dining or to some pubs. You can also do that. Okay, you can also buy anything that's commercial in nature. Okay, but of course, my conclusion for today, okay, especially for other kinds of property you don't buy, is that always invest in what you know. Don't hear say. Okay, I've seen people who invest in all these more exotic properties and go into big property. Example, Brazil property. Some time ago, I think Ian and us and me, we heard about Brazil property, right? And what happened? Okay, we heard about people going to industrial property also without having any knowledge. So by investing anything without knowledge, right, and trying to make money is called gambling, right? Which is very dangerous. If today you won't go to Marina Bay Sands to try to make your money, or RWS, right? I would suggest that in any investment also don't make the same mistake. Understand the risk, understand what you're going in before you move on. Of course, if you ask me, does me and Ken consult in commercial property? I myself, I don't specialize in commercial property. If need me, I can get someone to tag along. Or if Ken can find someone, we can find someone to tag along for you. All right. Of course, being said that, doesn't mean that we don't know anything about all this property. No one. Okay, we have some knowledge. Okay, so during the initial assessment, we actually look through the entire portfolio of your situation, and then we will recommend the corresponding correct strategy. All right, and then you decide. Okay, yeah. Okay, so this is the end of my sharing. Okay, now I want to open up this time for any question. All right, anyone has any question?
So it appears that in Singapore, if you have finished decoupling, you have, let's say successfully, and then you have bought 2 properties, say you don't want to go into commercial, basically for residential properties, there's no other way to buy except just get whacked lah. I mean, besides the trust, because the trust in a way is kind of like, I mean, giving to a child who hasn't grown up, right? So just talking about couple themselves, no children, don't involve the children, okay? So in that situation for a couple, the maximum you can get is 2 properties. So the third property is very difficult already, right?
Parents can?
Parents.
Parents got property.
Decouple parents. Okay, let's say after decoupling all the parents lah. So
Brother, sister.
I can lend you my name.
Yeah, I think me too.
Yeah, we need to write a solid will.
Yeah. Very sorry.
Very solid.
I'm half joking. There are people who do that, but of course there are risks involved. That means they really go and borrow's name. Okay, what I understand is like, I heard of this case, they actually go and borrow siblings' name. But I have to trust that person. Yeah.
Sorry, with regards to the trust, right? Earlier, John, you mentioned that the children don't have to pay the stamp duty if the trust is in their name, right? Then does it mean
the ABSD? The normal stamp duty still apply, but not additional buyer stamp duty.
But the normal stamp duty will be paid by you who is passing to your children, or your children next time have to pay?
No, you will pay now.
Oh.
Buy anything, you pay now first. Taxes are always pay first. You must remember. Singapore is like that. And never own the government money. Next time your income tax a problem, right? Even though they calculate wrongly, pay first, then you appeal. Don't go and argue, don't pay, no. What jialat. Okay? Remember, in Singapore, it's like that. Okay?
So it's basically like I'm paying for the house, but I'm leaving it in my children's name. So if it's up, like so-called me being like an additional property owner, right?
You are not owning the property. Yeah. In fact, you are giving it as a gift to your children, but it's put under trust. You know what I mean?
But if children don't want, then they have to sell off next time. Is it
okay. Upon 21 years old, all this money and property belongs to your children, including the rental collected. Yeah, but of course, as a trustee, I can manage this property such a way whereby the rental income can be used for her benefit or the child's benefit. Education fees can be paid off using the rental, right? But I think that's fair, okay? But you cannot take the money and go and do your own. I buy a new car, I do my own expenses. Then that's not right. Yeah, of course. I'm telling you all the most proper way, Yeah, put it this way.
So if you use trust, I mean, if you do it in a trust manner, will it affect their chance to buy a HDB with the government grant?
Yes. Let's say let's say upon 21,
so they have to sell. Yeah, they have to sell the private property. But then when that happens, can they use the grant?
Okay, you sell already, wait 30 months, then they become eligible again, then you can buy.
And then the grants can still be used because it's 30 months clean already, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
But don't shotgun marriage then we'll
stay in rented lah.
Yeah.
No choice.
Okay.
John, I just exploring Pat's idea. Are we able in Singapore buy a landed, then after that in one lender build two separate units? Is that possible?
Okay, lender you can't build 2 separate units, but you can structure the staircase or the way so that it's become a dual key line or something like that. You can. Yeah.
Actually, if we want to, I mean, like for example, that means really become the role of developer. I heard people doing this before, like really tear down, but it's actually more like a developer. That one they actually have to pay additional tax also, is it? Or?
Okay, no, depends on what you do. If let's say you're going to subdivide, that means one landed house you can subdivide into 2.
No, that means let's say one landed become like a short condo lah.
Okay, there's a height limit. Every place there's a height limit and how many story you can build.
So let's say one landed tear down, then become like 3-story walk-up apartment, something like that.
You can
have the view.
You can technically.
But
you must fulfill all the offset.
So that is another way lah. I mean, I see you very up.
Ken, you got something to say, Ken?
Sorry, that one is what you build one apartment, then you rent out to many people.
Yes, some people do that.
One that Emin just said.
Yes, I actually heard of this case, but I'm not too sure about tax involved. One case I heard is, so what happened, I think he, go and buy landed, I think 2 bungalows or 2 condos, two semi-D, they tear down, combine the land. Then he actually was able to build like a 6-story,
Okay.
sort of like a walk-up apartment or that, a 6-story condo lah, 6-story apartment. But that person I know, he actually did it eventually just all for his own family. I don't think he actually sold any of the units. But technically, if let's say can split, they can sell. Yeah.
That's the Novena side, is it?
Oh, that one quite some time ago. I can't remember exactly where.
Kingley Road.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
does it mean that the apartment has like multiple keys, or it's just one apartment but different family, different like maybe
No,
one
so
brother?
it's like a condo already. So that particular case I know lah. So he technically go and buy that piece of land. If you actually now you go at places like Telok Kurau or some of this northern area, landed area, then suddenly you see like one small apartment. So what those apartments in the past was actually just landed now. They just buy land out, then they actually combine 2 pieces of land, then they actually build an apartment on top. Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's 2 ways you can do it. Either you can what Emin say, right, is really like developer, they actually change the landed to become a condo. That's a change, really change the use of the land from a landed to a condo. That one need a lot of approval, need a lot of other payments. Or maybe the development charges may apply because land is intensified use, so the government will have the taxes and all this will be paid, right? If you are talking about combining 2 pieces of land to become a bigger landed, also can, but then it's still, there's no change of use, but it still must be approved by the government, all right?
But if they build a condo, when they sell next time, the place is already a condo, right? It's no longer
Yes.
a landed, right?
No longer landed, it's a condo status. And individual owners are may be issued with strata title. Strata title means you own the air, but you don't own the land. Okay, like today when you stay in HDB, right, you are strata owner. You're called strata owner. That means you own the air, you own the space, you don't own the land. You know what I mean? That's called strata title. Strata means air, strata layer, like the cloud behind you, that's called strata. Okay, so I'm also a strata owner. I own the air only. I don't own any piece of land. Okay, right?
But that just now, John said a very interesting point. You could actually buy land, tear down the bungalow, then build a dual key unit there. You mentioned.
Yeah, triple key also can. But it's how you change your staircase. But your main gate will still be the same main gate, the offset the garden. And then your staircase how you configure up to you based your landed.
So if you want, can choose this kind of pattern.
I've seen some of my ex-colleague, right? They do choose this kind of pattern. Yeah, and I visited a place before. I said, wow, yours is like dormitory, or like a hostel. You know what I mean? But don't forget there's URA requirement for a number of people that can stay in every private property. So be very careful on that. Or you do until 15 rooms. Wow, the URA say only 8% can stay. Wow, you xiao. You know what I mean? Okay, all right. Yeah, you can stay in landed. Why you want to bother the small money? Correct or not? Rent out that $800 that room. You know what I mean? All right. Okay, any more question? Okay, it's quite interesting. Any more question?
Yeah, but then of course again, why that passion for residential property? If you already have 2 already, I mean seriously think even from an investment perspective, even you want a 3rd one resident, it actually should be overseas. If you can afford to diversify, you should be diversifying. I mean, what makes you think that Singapore one day cannot be like Hong Kong like that, or cannot be like Thailand like that, whereby we have riots, so on and so forth. If really can afford, you should diversify overseas. Yeah, in fact, that is also my plan. If let's say if I got a little bit more money, I'm actually going to buy something in Bangkok. Okay, numbers wise, Bangkok may not be so exciting. To be frank, compared to Singapore, actually Asia regions, I'm going to compare Singapore in terms of capital gain potential. Actually, Singapore is still the highest among the Asian. Of course, unless you want to compare places like Myanmar and Laos, then there's different risk category altogether. Okay, risk adjusted return, I was saying. Okay, and then why I still want to go in is actually because it's a diversification. Okay. A lot of us, most of our assets in Singapore, of course, this is on a premise that you can afford lah. So why do you actually still want to keep putting your money here? What makes you so sure that Singapore will be there the next 50 years?
You must understand Emin's thinking, because Emin thinking of don't know want to put his children in Canada or Australia or UK. So he every place buy one now. Every country buy one now.
Yeah, but the way I'm trying to learn from John, just like you. Yeah.
Well, I think that, I mean, at least historically in the last history, I think Singapore capital gain is quite interesting.
It is.
In terms of being how stable the whole governance is across the region here, I don't think there's another piece of land that is like us.
Yeah.
I think that's basically the reason. So if you go for a short term meaning that 10 to 15 years, I think it's a pretty good capital gain. But if you are talking about, say, US, I mean, you can have the ups and the downs, but 10 to 15 years may not give you as much. No?
Yeah. So that's the point we are actually trying to give suggestions. Let's say if you are purely capital gain, then it may not even be residential in the first place, especially after you have already two lah.
Yeah,
that's the question we're gonna ask. If it's then why you actually want to buy something so similar again?
The only thing is about quantum lah, because every time you hit the commercial, it goes by the millions lah. You know what I mean? So of course now the condos are also going by the millions, but at least you have a one, you have a two, right? But the commercial side, for something that has a possible good gain, you probably have to sink in 4 million and above.
No lah, no. If you talk about office,
we'll find.
Like for example, Strata Office, International Plaza, there's one point in time very hot. You can get even below 1 mil lah. Now I'm not too sure. Like for example, one of my friend actually go and play. You know the Little Thailand, what's it called? Little Thailand,
Little Thailand. Oh, Golden Mile.
Golden Mile
Complex.
Yeah, he go and play M Block. So if you go and buy something like down there 400-500K still have, but that one is play M Block lah. Yeah, so like textile center, all these kind of small one actually still have lah. But then it's a different game altogether lah. It's a different game altogether. Yeah.
Emin, I just want to add on maybe instead of just looking at buying more and more property, which is also good, you can also consider whether you're looking at property portfolio management. Okay, why do I say that? Because in a property portfolio, there's cash portion which can be invested in REITs, which I think Emin can explain later, plus property, right? And property management and portfolio management also involve restructuring your current property for a better return, right? Okay, what is called better return? For example, increasing growth, or let's say my generation is in, let's say, District 15. I structure it such a way next time my property portfolio is all in District 1 and 2, right? Better appreciation in future. So don't just do one-dimensional, I just want to grow as many property. But how about growing the overall wealth? Which one is more important? Okay, so these are really some things that will disturb you when you do the 2-to-1. We'll throw ideas, we'll throw options to you. So you decide which one makes sense to you before you proceed, right? Okay, yeah, just that to it.
Yeah, so
I got a question.
Okay, sorry, please go ahead.
Yeah. Just now the decoupling, I think the example that I was talking about used the 50-50. Then even yesterday you mentioned the 99 one. Is it possible?
Possible. Can calculate.
How does that work out? Wow. Can explain a bit more?
99 ones, your CPF has to return everything, but you're buying over the 1%, that's all. The
ABSD apply on the 1%, the loan and all this also is on the 1% only, is it?
That's right. Okay, that's right. But it may not be so straightforward, I must say, because CPF usage may not just be 1%. Okay, and there are some complications. So better to look at the overall situation before you proceed.
I see.
Yeah.
But you all can do the calculation.
We can do the calculation. Yeah, we can do a calculation. Yeah, just Excel away. Yeah, I've programmed it until lost another 3 strands of my hair. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
In terms of ROI for properties, don't talk about capital gain. In terms of ROI ongoing, your rental, etc., what is a reasonable number to accept? And then for IMIN side, in terms of investment returns, what is a reasonable number to look at?
So long-term average, okay, this is based on historical numbers. If you buy property, capital gain plus rental, we are looking at 10 to 15%. And this is a leverage return. That means you just based on your amount invested, not based on the property price. Then you're looking at 10 to 15%. So,
Right.
which means to say, let's say a $1 million property, right? Okay, assuming you actually get a 3% rental, for example, a leverage return, because 1 million you don't put in $1 million, but you put in 250,000. Okay, leverage return can work out to be about become 6% already. Also same for capital gain. Yeah. So leverage return we are looking at 10 to 15%. At least this is what historically the property is actually giving.
So in pure investment without properties, is it possible to gain 10 to 15%?
Of course. If you actually bought Bitcoin a few months ago, you have made like, I don't know. yeah. So yes, it's possible. Of course, end of the day, we won't say that which is better. It's a lot of suitability lah. It's not suitability. But I mean, our point here is if you already have two already, if you tell me I have one, then you want to buy another one, sure, I think it still makes sense. But you already have two already. The other one, you have to have like you have to, start with a 15% or 12% offers, then why still want to force yourself to do that? That's where I'm coming from.
So just add on to what you mean, say, think portfolio management.
Yes.
Your wealth portfolio.
Yeah.
That's why I really like to work with Emin, because it's very balanced. You see, he does this his own stocks and share program. He also have trainer on options. We also have trainers on financial planning on financial gym. So, okay, even though I'm a property guy, life doesn't just revolves or wealth doesn't evolve just around property. It got to be a very balanced kind of thing, correct? You need to have insurance, you need to have some investment in options or whatever, so it balance up. Okay, so when we do the engagement, we're actually looking at the entire portfolio. Okay, why are we able to do that? Because okay, even like for myself, I also CFP trained. Okay, so I can look at financial numbers. Of course, Emin is CFA. So 我们有满汉全席的yeah, right. Okay, so we tend to be more balanced. Okay, I won't say that stock is better or property is better. I think that's argument. I think whichever can make you or get you to where you want. I think that is good. So that's why I say I always like to work with Emin, because he has other programs that can actually help, not just one single side. Right.
Yeah, so while we're talking, I think another solution for you already. Of course, I think John talked about portfolio. That means your current 2-1, turn it to bigger one. If both already currently like 5-bedroom, 10 to 7-bedroom one, we can find for you. Yeah, that's another way to avoid. Yeah, that's another way. Yeah. That means recycle your current property. Of course, the other one that we talked about also before is this. Find those property which is targeted at foreigner, so that everybody is on the same starting line. Like everybody actually pay ABSD. Okay, so they actually very some property very targeted at foreigner. Those about 3,000 square feet above. That one, usually you have high percentage of foreigner, because John didn't actually touch much about it this time around. Of course, during the one-to-one we talked. A lot of times your price is affected by your neighbor. Okay, if let's say you want to sell for, let's say same size, you want to sell for 1.2, all your neighbors sabo you sell 1 million. Okay, so a lot of times if you all buy the same price, people won't sabo you. Okay, you buy at 1 million, John buy at 1 million, all want to sell 1.2. But if you buy at 800,000, if you buy at 1 million, your neighbors buy at 800,000, he sell 1 million enough already. Yeah, so that is another thinking. So in that case, you pay ABSD still okay. Yeah, so just again, more ideas. Of course, we can explore more when we actually sit down, individually. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, good. You mean, do you think we shall take a 5 minutes break? let everyone
Can.
feel better then.
Anybody else has any other questions? Quite interesting discussion, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I just want to add on. So end of the day, we want to achieve two things here. Number one is, don't just see property, I buy, stay, that's it. A lot of pattern we can shoot. Then number two is whatever we have shared so far is definitely not recommendation. We just want to plant ideas to you all. Plant different ideas to you all. Then, if there's anything that caught your attention, then we can actually together explore further how to bring this idea to fruition. Yeah. Okay. Any questions? Okay, we take a 5 minutes break.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. Come back at about 16:10. Okay, thanks. Thank you. Okay, if you're back, don't mind, just send me type of 1 onto the chat now. Either that, you may want to turn on your video. It's so nice of you also to turn on the video, so at least I know that I'm talking to somebody. It's actually quite difficult when we just talk to computer, like, especially. Actually, I quite respect John, able to tell jokes in front of computer. That is something I'm still trying to learn how to do. If let's say someone behind looking at me telling jokes to the computer, it's actually a very funny scene. And John, thank you so much. Okay, for the rest, if you can't turn on the video, don't mind, just tell me type of 1 so that I know that you're in the house. Thank you so much. Thanks. Thank you. Thanks, Michael, Saidip, Agent. Thank you so much. Is Chow Yi back? Hi, Chow Yi. Okay, let's see. I think maybe just give Chow Yi just 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes. Okay, good. Everyone is back. Okay, so I think the last idea we want to plant to you, so sometimes a bit evil, plant a lot of evil ideas to you. Is actually this thing called margin on REITs. Okay, so why we actually talk about margin on REITs is actually because it can be seen exactly as how we make money from property investment. So again, I think I asked this question yesterday. Just want to do a quick recap. 4 ways we can actually make money from properties. What are the 4 ways? What are the 4 ways? Okay, can I just trouble someone to type in, or maybe just unmute yourself and share 4 ways you can actually make money from property investment. Okay, rental, thank you so much. Where else?
Capital gain.
Capital gain.
By borrowing from the bank.
Thank you so much, leverage, and for saving. Thank you so much. So basically, if you actually buy a property, you can actually make these 4 ways, make money from these 4 ways. And in terms of, like, for example, for saving, if let's say this property is rented out, or even better, you actually get someone to for save for you. Can you see? You don't have to save yourself. So what we are trying to say here is this margin on REITs, and why we are talking about this is because you can exactly make money from these 4 ways as well. Okay, so that's why we actually want to bring the topic. And of course, end of the day, buying REITs, you're actually buying what? You're actually buying commercial properties, and it's still backed by properties. So it's exactly the same as you buy properties for rental. Okay, so of course you can just say that, then why don't we just talk about REITs? Why are we talking about margin on REITs? Because if you talk about REITs, you're just making capital gain, you're just making a rental. There is some leverage, but not on personal level. It's, of course, the REITs is already borrowed money, but not on personal level. So if let's say you want to take additional leverage, on your own, okay, then you have to do the margin part. That's why the margin come in. And the forced saving portion, again, you buy REITs, how do you actually force yourself to save? So that one also, just by REITs alone, you don't. So you do margin on REITs to bring up the leverage and the forced saving part. Okay, let me just pull up my screen and we can actually talk a bit more. Margin on REITs. So this is what I'm actually going to go through today, why we use a margin call. So that's the most important REITs you have to think about. Of course, everything in life, there's pros and cons. I will paint you the very nice picture first. Then, of course, we have to look at the REITs. End of the day, like John said, I'm just a CFO. I present options. Then you have to decide whether is this suitable for you. Okay. Of course, after talking about risks, we also talk about how to mitigate the risks and additional risks to take note. Okay, I hope it's clear. Okay, maybe I just ask it easier. Down here, if you have bought REITs before, don't mind just help me type a 1. Never buy REITs before, help me type a 0. Okay, thank you, Vivian. Thanks. Bought before, help me type a 1. Never buy a REITs before, help me type a 0. Okay, great. Most of you, the rest, Adrian, yes. Michael, can I just confirm you have bought REITs before? Okay, Michael, no. Okay. Xiao Yi, have you bought?
I'm not, my mom helped me to buy before, but I'm not sure whether it's considered REITs. Is
Okay.
Maple Tree Logistics, is it REITs?
That's a REIT, huh? Okay, great, great. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, great. So good. Most of you have bought it before. Okay, that is actually very good. Now, the actual REITs part, I'm actually not going to spend a lot of time on it. I just want to spend this slide to actually explain what REIT is. Basically, you are buying REITs, you are buying properties, full stop. Okay, you are actually pooling money. So let's say if I'm a REIT, right, I'm actually buying a REIT. Okay, I actually pool money from different investors like yourself, like some big boys, pool money all together to go and buy properties like as such for rental. Okay, so in short, the underlying is actually REITs, but so far all the REITs are commercial property. We used to have a residential REIT, but that one is on residential property in Japan. So that one is no longer available already. So now all the REITs are actually for commercial. Okay, in terms of the REIT selection, so basically now we have 40 REITs for you to choose from in SGX. Of course, if you want, you can even look at overseas REITs. Okay, I'm actually not going to touch in detail on the REIT selection. If you're interested, I actually have free courses in SGX. Talk about REIT selection. So that's why I'm actually not touching here. So down here, what I share is definitely not free in SGX. There's some free courses on how you select REITs. So if you want, you can actually go attend those courses to actually talk about how to select a particular REIT. But if not, I just want to say here, you buy REITs, you're actually buying properties. And I just want to talk about the mechanism. How do you actually replicate it such that it become like a property investment to you as well? So maybe I just want to just stop here for a while. Anybody has any particular question on REITs, because this is the time only take it. I want to focus more on the mechanism to make REITs investment almost to be like a property investment. Anybody has any questions?
I'm sorry,
Yes.
Is there a difference between REIT and margin on REITs, or are you going to explain?
Okay, so REITs is a stock itself that's listed. Okay, it's a product. REITs is a product. Okay, when I buy REITs, I'm buying a basket of properties. Okay, margin means I'm borrowing money. Okay, margin is a kind of service which allow you to borrow money. And you put margin on REITs together, that means I'm actually borrowing money to go and buy REITs. So you can think of it this way. Okay, of course, if you want to buy REITs with your own money, you can. Just like, for example, you want to buy a physical property, you want to use your own money to buy, you can. Okay, but a lot of times when we buy physical property, we'll borrow money from the bank. So what I'm saying now here is this: if you want to buy REITs from the stock market, if you want, you also can borrow money from the stockbroker. And once you do that, you're called margin. Okay, is that clear enough? I mean, feel free to add on if let's say it's not clear.
The stockbroker meaning like there's a company that will help you to. It's like the company is like the bank, right?
Okay, so basically you buy stocks from a stockbroker. Like for example, your mom buy from you, right? She has to open a stockbroking account. You buy stocks from the stockbroker. So what I'm saying is you also can borrow money from the stockbroker.
So if I buy the REIT itself, assuming I buy directly from Maple Tree, is that what it is?
No, okay. So let's say, for example, if you want to buy a stock, right? You want to buy any stock, right? You have to open a stockbroking account.
Yeah.
Okay. You cannot go to Maple Tree and buy, no. So you have to go open a stockbroking account to actually go and buy the REITs. Okay. So what I'm saying here is this: you can also borrow from the stockbroker. So maybe I give you some visual. It's actually easier to see. Okay, so Kim Eng is a stockbroker. So it's just like, it's equivalent to an agent. So this is actually John. So you're the agent. If you want to buy stocks, I cannot go to SGX at once. So I buy, I have to log into my account to buy. So
Is it something like UOB, Tiger?
that is correct.
Okay.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. Okay, so I have to go to this platform to actually go and buy. So this guy, Kim Eng, he is my stockbroker. So he is my agent for me to go and buy the stocks. Okay. So if I want to buy REITs, I buy from here. What I'm saying here is this guy, beside helping me to buy the stock, he also can lend me money to buy the stocks. That's all. That's what margin means.
Okay.
Can, huh? Okay, good, good. Okay. Let me go back to my slides. Any other questions on what is a REIT? Okay, don't be shy. So this is the last slide. I want to talk about what is REIT. Like I said, I'm actually going to focus on the mechanism from now on already. Okay, all good, huh? So in short, you buy REITs, you are buying property, commercial properties as such. Okay, now let's talk about what are the benefits of using margin. Okay, so this is how the margin works. So margin currently actually give you about 3.5 times leverage. What does this mean? If you actually put in $10,000, you can buy up to $35,000 worth of REITs or stocks, whatever you call it. Okay, so of course the margin, you can also buy stocks. Okay, so technically speaking, this is what happened. That means you can actually borrow, you're actually borrowing 25,000 to buy the stocks. Current interest rate now is about 3.3%. So this one, the interest rate is higher. It's not your property interest rate. So that's why property loan is actually one of the best interest rates. So currently we are doing about 3.3, and this is a floating rate. Means it actually change quite often. And you cannot lock in this rate one. Property you still can lock in the rate. This one you cannot lock in one. Okay. It actually just changed, and it is, he just had to tell you it's going to change, and that's it. It will change. Oh. So now, how the account works here is this. The borrowing will only start after the deposit is used up. Only then there will be interest charge. Okay. The interest charge add to the borrowing amount. Dividend is actually deducted from the borrowing amount, and as such, there's actually no cash outlay required to pay interest and no cash receipt from dividend. Okay, what does all this whole paragraph means? Let me just use an Excel spreadsheet, then it's actually easier for you to see. Okay, so let's say, for example, I start a margin account. Okay, I start a margin account. So he will actually say this, so a cash value. Okay, and to start off now, like now places, they actually need a minimum of $10,000. Okay, so I have to, once I start, okay, you can see that there's a line say, okay, I've actually cashed 10,000 in this account. So let's say after, once I started, I go and buy this REIT, ABC REIT. Okay, $5,000. So under my stock value, I have ABC REIT 5,000. So in my cash value, how much would I have? How much will it be there? Can I just get someone to key in? Okay, under this cash value, how much would I actually do? Will it be there after I actually buy a REIT that is like $5,000? Can I just trouble someone to key into the chat, please? Okay, 5,000. Thank you so much. So this one will actually become 5,000. Okay. Then let's say next day I go and buy DEF REIT. Then after that, I actually go and pay $7,000 for it. Okay. So down here, what will it show? Under my cash value, what will it show? Thank you so much. Minus 2,000. You actually show minus 2,000. Okay. Okay. So I can actually buy up to 3.5 times 3.5 times the initial amount I put in. Or the other way to put it here is this, they actually kept at the margin ratio of 1.4. Okay, let me introduce, okay, margin ratio, I think I'll talk about it very soon. Okay, maybe actually I explain the margin ratio first, then I'll come back to here lah. But what I'm trying to say here is this. So this is how it works. You have to put in your 10,000. Then they will actually slowly minus off until there's a cap. Later, I actually explain to you how does the cap work. Now, the other thing I want to stress at this point here is this. Of course, you're actually borrowing money. You actually have to pay interest on the monthly basis. So let's say after I buy this, okay, I actually buy this after I open an account. The end of, let's say, end of the first month, I have to pay $50 interest. Okay, you are not required to, from your pocket, go and take another $50, but this cash value will change. Can someone please share? Let's say now interest is $50 for me for the first month. After I pay interest, this cash value becomes what? What will this figure be?
Negative 2050.
Thank you so much. So basically, I owe another $50. So the point here I want to stress here is this: you don't have to go and fork out additional cash from your bank or whatever to pay that $50. Okay, it's just that down here it will show that I owe the bank another $50. Okay, on the same note, so let's say for example, this month I get $100 dividend. Okay, I get $100 dividend. This $100 dividend don't go to my bank account or don't go to my pocket. So just what happened here is this dividend will actually be used to reduce the amount you owe. Also, after a dividend, you actually get minus 1950. Okay, so this is how the account works. Anybody has any question at this juncture? So the point I want to, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Automatic one, right? Like the moment you open this account, then like the interest and the dividend is all automatically added or deducted from the, you don't have to do anything, right?
That is correct. Yes, that is correct. Yes. So what I want to stress here is this, exactly like what Chia has mentioned just now. Once you open an account, you put the money there, as long as you're within the margin, which I will talk about very soon. The rest is there's no cash transaction. You don't have to put money in for your interest. You don't take money out for your dividend. Correct. You can actually say that, Adrian. Yes. Of course, at any point in time, you can withdraw the cash, but that is a manual process. You have to ask for it. It's not automatic. Okay, so this part clear. Is that clear? Okay, wait. Let me just go back to my slides. So we talk about the numbers first. So why is it actually so interesting? And down here actually shows the leverage element. Okay, so one of the reason why property investment is actually so interesting, because you actually borrow money, there's a leverage. Just now I mentioned to Pat, if let's say for example, rental yield, a lot of people say rental yield is actually 3%. That is actually based on the full property price. But after leverage, the rental yield is actually can go up to like 6-7%. So same thing, so let's say for example you buy REITs. Now this REITs is actually give a 6% dividend yield. So basically, if you buy REITs, you actually get a dividend. So anybody need me to explain what is dividend? Anybody don't know what is dividend? Okay, in short, dividend is just like interest. Dividend is just like interest. If you buy REITs, let's say I buy REITs, give me a 6% dividend. Adrian, I'll answer your question later. Okay, thanks for your question. So if I buy 10,000, 6% dividend, okay, if I compare to I buy 10,000, I borrow at 25,000, borrow another 25,000 at 3.5%. I'm using 3.5% here to buy the same REIT. So this is what happened here. If I actually take 10,000, borrow 25,000, that means total I buy 35,000 worth of REITs, correct? So 6% of this, I'm actually getting $2,100 worth of dividends. Of course, I have to pay the interest 3.5%, okay, for the amount I borrow. So I have to pay 3.5% interest based on the amount I borrow, which is 875. After that, my net dividend is actually 1225. So you can see, if let's say I got $10,000, I don't do anything. I just go and buy REITs plainly. I only can buy 10,000 worth of REITs. I get 6% return. But if I the same $10,000, I go and borrow another $25,000 based on this $10,000, my initial capital is actually still 10,000. Okay, I get more dividend, but of course at the same time to pay interest, my net dividend become 1225, which means to say my return, my annual dividend return actually increased from 6% to 12.25%. Okay. Okay, so this is actually one important slide. If let's say this slide is okay, can understand, don't mind just help me type a 1. If there's any question, please ask. Thank you so much.
Sorry, this is the dividend yield can increase because the total, I mean, initial amount that you buy the REITs is significantly more, right?
That's right. Yes, correct.
Okay.
Okay, so the rest, okay, of course I did, it's not safe lah. Short answer, not safe, but of course I'll share with you how do we mitigate that. Okay, for the rest, if it's okay, please help me type a 1. Okay, if not, please ask questions. So this is why the margin on REITs is interesting, and this is why the leverage is interesting. And this is exactly how come property can make more money for you because of leverage. So what I'm trying to say here is this: you can actually replicate property with a stock market. Okay, the rest, any questions? Adrian, are you okay? Adrian, okay, so these slides, so far so good. Okay, good. Then I continue. So this is just a repetitive of what I've been saying just now. This is how property investment generate returns, capital gain, rental yield, leverage, and forced saving. If you just buy REITs alone, okay, you're actually getting capital gain. You're just getting rental yield. So the margin part comes in will actually help to replicate this part, magnify with leverage and forced saving. Okay, let me just give you some example. It's easier to see. So I just do this side by side. I just do this side by side. Okay, then it's actually clearer. So if you actually buy a property, okay, $1 million. So let's say you actually borrow 650,000. You actually put in $350,000 as your own money. Then you borrow 650. You actually borrow for 30 years, and assuming interest is 2%. Okay, your monthly payment is about 2403. Okay, so this is then after that you actually go and rent out the property at 3%. You get a rental per month about 2,005. So can you see that actually you have created a forced saving mechanism? The good thing is that actually who is actually saving for you? Your tenant is actually saving for you. Yes, you put in $350,000. Okay, then after that every month someone is actually paying off this your mortgage for you. You don't have to fork out anything, and after 30 years your $350,000 will become 1 million. So even assuming there's actually no capital gain, after 30 years the full property is yours, and of course assuming there's no capital gain, your 350 will become $1 million. So that's how a property investment look like. Okay, so what I'm actually saying here is this: if you go margin on REITs, you can replicate the same thing. So yes, you put in 350,000, you can actually loan 3.5 times. So you actually loan another 650. Okay, interest rate is actually 3.5%. Okay, so you actually get dividend about 6%. So it's actually possible to actually get dividend about 6%. And let's assume you actually get 6%, which means to say your dividend per month is actually about $5,000. So this $5,000 will actually be slowly used to pay off the loan. And after 13.7 years later, again, assuming there's actually no capital gain. Okay, let's say the REITs price don't change. After 13.7 years later, your $350,000 will all become $1 million. Okay, so hope you all can actually see the similarity between these two slides. Okay, any questions on this? Anybody, any questions?
So in this case, the REIT generate the gain faster lah than getting a property of the same price.
Can actually say that because you're talking about 6%. Yes.
And you pay off in like less than half the number of years.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Okay, based on this case study, of course, later we talk about the risks, whatever later. But based on this case study, yes. Okay. So why it actually
What's the
sorry?
equivalent, the PMT, the interest value? Like here is on the left is 2403, right? On the right is how much?
Okay, so you just take the interest rate multiplied by the loan amount. Okay, divide by 12.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So how come you actually pay faster? So the game that actually play is actually called the spread game. So you can see the rental yield and the interest rate, the spread is actually only 1%. So whereas in this case, you can see the yield versus the interest is actually 2.5%. So you have higher spread, and then that's why you actually can pay off faster. Okay. Adrian, you're correct. So of course, you have to make sure that your REIT dividend above the interest rate. And of course, that can change, you're right. If not, it cannot offset. Okay, Adrian, you're totally correct. Okay, good. Any other questions or comments?
But assuming you cannot offset like within 13.7 years, assuming the dividend yield drops, you can still pay, you can still get the 1 million but longer runway, right? You have to take longer time to so-called payback, is it?
That is correct. Okay, of course, you have to make sure your dividend can at least cover interest. Okay, so if tell me there's actually no spread, so assuming your dividend yield only 3.5%, you are paying 3.5% interest, then you are not paying down the loan. Your loan amount will always be there. Okay, then after that, you will not get your $1 million. There must be at least certain spread such that after I pay off interest, I still have money left. That money is actually used to pay off my loan, pay down my loan. Then eventually I can actually accumulate my $1 million. Okay, so Xiao Yi, did I answer your question?
Yeah, I think like what Adrian mentioned also, I was wondering, like, I was thinking the same thing lah. Like what if halfway through the company like go bust or something, or maybe the company suddenly declare like, oh, we cannot give you a 6% already, it'll be 3%, which is even lower than your interest rate. Then can you like quickly sell off, or what's gonna happen? Or are you gonna cover that?
Of course you can. I can talk about it very later. So end of the day, like I said, let me paint a very nice picture for you first. My point here is this, it's actually exactly same as similar to property. So your property same case, let's say you just depend on this. What if you cannot get tenant, then you also will not be able to pay off the loan. You see what I mean? So I'm not saying this is perfect. Of course, there are risks, which I'll talk about later. But what I'm trying to say here is this, the system is very similar to buying property for rental. Okay, good. Please keep the questions coming in. So like now, because over Zoom, I can't really see your expression. I don't know whether you all have the very quiz look or really that look. So will be great if there's any question, just please ask. Especially for this is actually considered high risk. Okay, I don't want you all to go away with half knowledge. That's actually very dangerous. So please, any question, please ask. Okay, if not, I'll move on. So of course, even if let's say, for example, you even push your limit a bit more. Okay, I always talk about, okay, now a lot of people always talk about sell one, buy two, sell one, buy two. Okay, if let's say you don't want to sell and buy two for whatever reasons, you don't want to pay ABSD or whatever. So same thing. So let's say have this HDB $600,000, you upgrade to a $1 million condo. Okay, This 1 million, you actually loan 700,000, you free up 12,000 for cash. Okay, this 12,000 cash, you can actually create a 1.5 million REITs portfolio with your cash. And of course, let's all assume that all the assets increase by 3% per annum. So this is what happened. Let's say, for example, you have a HDB, 600,000 fully paid. You do nothing. Okay, you do nothing. So assuming that your HDB, okay, 25 years later, okay, every year increase by 3% per annum, your HDB will become $1.3 million. Obviously, you don't have any loan amount, okay, because already fully paid. There's actually no loan. Also, 25 years later, your 600 become 1.3 million. So that's what I'm trying to say here. But let's say you do this, your 600 HDB, you go and sell. You go and buy a condo worth $1 million today. Okay. You just only put in $300,000 cash to buy the condo, and you actually loan $700,000 for your condo today. That's what I'm saying. And 25 years later, assuming your condo actually increased by 3% per annum, 25 years later, your $1 million condo will become 2.1 million. Okay. With the other $300,000, you actually go and create a REITs portfolio again with the same $1 million. And same thing, assume your REITs also increase by 3% per annum. 25 years later, your $1 million REITs portfolio today, 25 years later will become 2.2 million. Okay. So what we're actually saying here is this, the dividend, if you actually use the dividend to actually go and pay off your condo mortgage. So of course, down here, you generate dividend, correct? So let's say you use the dividend to actually go and pay off the condo mortgage. 25 years later, just nice, this one, dividend from here can cover your monthly mortgage payment. Okay. Of course, if you actually use the dividend to cover here, your loan, the what you call that, the interest from your, okay, so okay, down here, actually I've done my calculation based on numbers here. With the dividend, because dividend 6%, you can actually cover the mortgage payment for the condo. At the same time, the interest for your REITs portfolio, okay, based on the numbers here. Why? Because this one 6%. 6%. It's actually enough to actually cover the mortgage for the condo and the interest portion, okay, for the loan. But then, okay, you cannot pay down the loan for your REITs portfolio. Don't forget, the REITs also borrow money. So 25 years later, you still owe about 700,000. So you take 2.2 minus 700, you got 1.5 million. Okay. And 25 years later, if you do this switch, okay, potentially it can become $3.6 million. Of course, again, there's all risk involved, blah, 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 so on and so forth. I'm just talking about technically it's possible. And this one, technically, it can be looked like a sell one, buy two strategy. Okay, because if let's say you sell one, buy two, your second property, okay, potentially can also pay off for your mortgage loan, pay off the interest, like what John has mentioned just now. And net, you have about the same kind of output. Okay, so again, I just want to stop here. Anybody has any question on this slide? Okay, Adrian has some question. Okay, Adrian, yes, I will come to that very soon. Okay, any questions on this? Okay, so again, these are some strategies you can consider instead of just taking sell one, buy two. Okay, why don't you sell one, buy one, and after that, the rest of money go and create a REITs portfolio. So these are the different options you can actually consider. And that's what we're actually saying here. Okay, now let's talk about the risk part. Okay, of course, I think some in your mind is what the risk involved. Yes, it's actually quite risky. I'm not going to lie about it. So in fact, margin is actually considered high risk. It's actually considered high risk. If you really want to do it, please make sure you have all the risk mitigating measure in place. So that's why I think it's actually very important. Don't leave this part with a half knowledge. If you're really interested, please leave with a full knowledge. Don't leave half knowledge. And how you actually get full knowledge is please ask questions. Now, there's actually this thing called the margin call. This is how it works. Okay, let me introduce this concept called margin ratio first. Margin ratio is actually equal to total stock value divided by the borrowed amount. Okay, once the margin ratio drops below 140%, you are given 5 days to top up back to 1.4. Once the margin ratio drops to below 130%, okay, the broker has the right to force sell to pay off the borrowed amount. Okay, so I have a very simple mathematical example here. You put in 100,000, you borrow 25,000 to buy 350. Okay, that means your margin ratio is your stock value divided by your borrowed amount, 250. Okay, so you got 140%. So its price of stock dropped to 30,000. So let's say your down here, your margin ratio, your stock value become 30,000. Okay, of course your borrowed amount don't change. Okay, then your margin ratio drop 120%. Then you actually get margin call. Now let us go back to the Excel example. Okay. So basically your margin ratio is actually equals to your stock value divided by the borrow amount, which is here. Okay, so in this case, margin ratio is 6.15. It's actually fine. So assuming you actually keep buying, you buy more ABC REIT. So let's say you buy another $10,000 worth of ABC REIT. Okay. At the same time, down here, you also incur $10,000. You actually borrow 10,000. Okay, don't forget. Oh, can you see your margin ratio actually dropped to 1.841? Oh, okay. Okay, let me see how best to show you. Okay, maybe I go from start, it's easier. So at first, initial cash is actually 10,000. So of course, you don't borrow any money. Okay, no issue. And let's say, for example, I buy $30,000 worth of money, 30,000 worth. Okay, then my cash value down here will become minus 20,000. Okay, so you can see that my margin ratio dropped to 1.5. So if I actually buy $35,000, then of course I would have borrowed 25,000. Okay, then my margin ratio become 1.4. So this is the max I could actually buy based on the money I actually put in. Okay, 1.4. So now this is what happened here. Of course, the REITs price, they will actually fluctuate. Now, REITs price will actually fluctuate. What I'm trying to say here is this. So let's say, for example, we hit a crisis like what happened to last year or COVID, then the price dropped. Then after that, oh no, the price drop now actually dropped by 10%, actually become $32,000. Okay, your stock value become $32,000. Then your margin ratio down here become 1.28. Okay, so you actually have to top up. You have to top up such that your margin ratio go back to at least 1.4. Now, the question here is this. Once you top up, what will change? Is it your stock value will change or the amount you owe will change? Which one will change? Okay, when I say you top up, okay, which one will change? Does your stock value change or is it the cash value here change?
Cash value.
Thank you so much. The cash value change. Now, can you just help me do a quick calculation? How much you have to top up in this case such that, okay, the margin ratio go back to 1.4? Okay, hope you are working on it. So the question here is this: how much do you actually have to top up such that the margin ratio got to 1.4? Can I please try and key the answer on the chat, please? 4480. So let's see. So that means I top up 4480. Okay, so down here I have to, after I top up 4480, right, then I have to plus 4480.
Not 4480. It's 4480 minus 35. Wrong. Sorry, I missed out the zero. So it's
okay.
44800 minus 35000.
Say again. So what? You want to
44800 minus 350. 9,800.
So I have to top up 9,800. No, also too much already.
Right? Too much.
Say how much do I have to top up? Okay, so that I just get back margin ratio 1.4. Can you please try? Okay, any answers? Any answers? Okay, 2142. Let's see. So I actually add 2142. Okay, yes, thank you so much. That's actually quite close to 1.4. So that's how it actually works. That means let's say it actually drop. If the margin ratio drop to below 1.4 but above 1.3, you just have to top up. That means you just pay off some of your debt here. Okay, as long as go back to 1.4, you are fine. But if let's say, for example, it actually dropped below 1.3, they can actually sell off for you. I have actually sent you all this calculator. If you all want, you all can play around. It's actually quite scary, the sell-off partner. Okay. The calculation is that the if you want the formula, it's actually a bit complicated, but of course you can just click on the cell to actually see how I derive a formula. So actually it looks something like this. So let's say you put $100,000, you borrow 250, you can buy up to 350. Okay, so margin ratio 1.4 is fine. So let's say the stock value dropped to 320. Okay, 1.28. Then you have to top up this value. But let's say, for example, you don't top up. They go and sell down. They have to sell down to $75,000 then you can actually bring up to 1.28 million. Okay, it's almost have to sell down 3 times. Can you see? The sell down amount is actually different from the top amount. Why? Because when you sell down, don't forget your stock value also drop. Okay, your borrow amount drop, but your stock value also drop. So you definitely have to sell down a lot more. Then you can actually bring this up back to 1.4. Okay, or put it this way, let's say the stock value dropped to 250,000 equal to the borrowed amount, right? Okay, basically your whole portfolio is gone. Then you lose your $100,000 already.
Sorry, Amy, what is the meaning of sell down? And top up means you put it back. You put the money into your borrowed account, is it?
Yes, top up means you just take money from your pocket, go and deposit to the account. That means you are paying off the loan. Okay, sell down means they sell away your stocks, because don't forget you actually have the stocks with them. Okay, like in this case, you actually buy stocks, correct? Sell down is they will actually sell this away for you.
So when the
sorry, yeah, should I go?
When the margin ratio is below that 140%, is that only one option? 1.4. Yeah. Is that the only option to force sell, or can you actually have an option to top up?
Okay, once it actually go below 1.4, above 1.3, your broker will call you say please top up. So you can top up. Okay, but once this ratio go below 1.3, the broker has the right to just force sell already. Of course, broker usually quite nice, they will call you up first, but even if they don't call you, they just go and force sell for you, they have all the rights to do so.
Force selling means like you no longer hold the stock for this REIT, right?
Yes, that means whatever down here, you don't have already.
So you practically are just like paying off the amount of money you borrowed, but you no longer own a REIT.
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Any other questions? So you can see it's actually quite sensitive. Like for example, if let's say like last round during COVID, so during COVID, the stock market actually dropped by 30%. So if dropped by 30%, really it can wipe up all your money already. So imagine this, before COVID, you go and put in $100,000, you go and borrow 250 and buy 350,000 worth of REITs, for example. During COVID, you lost 30%. Okay, this one stock value dropped by $100,000. Okay, then the broker can actually sell away 250,000. That means basically sell away all your stocks to pay off your debt. That means your $100,000 gone already. That is how scary margin is. Okay, so now I'm actually painting the ugly part. So yes, margin ratio, it can actually help to accumulate funds, like property. At the same time, it's actually riskier because the stock price actually move faster. Okay, by the way, this top up also apply to real properties. It's just that they don't exercise only. A lot of people didn't realize. Okay, I don't know how many of you will actually buy properties, you actually read the loan condition. So by right, if let's say, for example, when the property valuation drop, they can actually ask you to top up the loan. It's just a yes, a lot of them don't practice, but they actually have the right to ask you to top up the loan if the property valuation drop, for information. Okay, but of course, having said that, the property valuation is not as volatile as what we're actually showing here. Okay, so let me move on. How do you actually manage this risk? So the same thing, so the key thing here is this, diversification is key. So basically, we are not suggesting that while you one shot today, got 100,000, go and buy $350,000 worth of REITs at this point in time. No, you should actually diversify. You should actually buy, buy the REITs over different timing, so that you won't be buying at a point in time whereby maybe it's too high, or either that maybe there's a chance to actually drop further, you spread out. So luckily I actually did that lah. I actually start my margin of REITs portfolio before the COVID. Okay, and of course when COVID comes, okay, so because I diversify, I still have some spare cash. I didn't actually hit the margin quite high. I think it went, the worst I had was about 1.6. My margin ratio went down to 1.6. Okay, and the best part is this, because I diversify, I still have cash. So in fact, when the market was low, I was able to put in money to ramp up. In fact, now I'm actually benefiting because I actually bought quite a bit of REITs at the lower price. Okay, so that's one. So the other thing is also this, you cannot just depend on one particular REIT. How do you know that one is the best REIT? How do you know that property is okay? So you should be buying about 15 to 20 different REITs. Okay, shouldn't just focus on one. So what I do is this, like for example, this month, I buy REIT A. Okay, next month, I buy REIT B. Next month, I buy REIT C. Next month, I buy REIT D, so on and so forth. So overall, once I hit steady state, I should have about 15 to 20 REITs inside my portfolio. Okay, so this is, again, if you ask me, like an advantage over buying a physical property, because if you buy a physical property, you only depend on one property. If let's say that one cannot rent out, oh, sorry, then too bad. You don't have dividend coming in already. So I'm actually buying 50 to different 20 REITs, and each REIT itself, easily they have about 20, 30 properties. That means I am having a portfolio of close to 100 properties. So even like 10% cannot rent out, I still have dividend coming in. So this is how you actually mitigate the various risks I mentioned earlier. I'm actually going to show an exercise. So my point here is this. I actually have this. Let me show the Excel. Okay. Again, you have the same Excel spreadsheet. If you like, you can study in detail. So this is a buy upfront scenario. So let's say, for example, I have $90,000. Then today, immediately I go and buy $27,000 worth of REITs. Let's assume that the price is $1. Then the units is 270. So let's say this is what I do. I go and max up, and my margin is 1.5. Okay. So of course you can see that every month I have to pay interest. So after the first month, my interest is 525. You will add in. Then my margin ratio actually come very close, up to 1.46. 1.46. And let's assume that after that I get dividend. Okay, I get dividend. Okay, then dividend comes in. Of course, it will boost up my margin ratio. Then I will start paying interest. Down, wait for next dividend come in, so on and so forth. So my weak point is actually 1.46. Can you see here? That was the lowest. And all you need is, let's say the price, assume the price drop to 10%. Okay, you can see down here, let's say after I buy, then next month drop to become 90 cents. Immediately, I already hit the margin call already. Let's say it dropped to 90 cents. So I actually hit the margin call already. So that's actually quite risky. So even let's say it dropped to 95 cents, drop by 5%. So can you see, if let's say drop by 5%, I hit margin call already. So this is not what I'm suggesting. You shouldn't just at this juncture go and max out. Okay, you can afford to diversify. So what I'm actually suggesting is this: if let's say you want to use this strategy, okay, it's important to create buffer funds. So what we do is this: we spread out our total investment over 5 years. So why 5 years? Is because usually 5 years we will capture one cycle. Then we break up into 3 portions. We break our funds into 3 portions. So in this case, we'll always have buffer fund, and of course 5 years in case of financial crisis. We only buy when there's enough spread. Dividend yield minus interest must be at least 2%. Then we reinvest the dividend to pay down the loan. Okay, in this case, we actually create new buffer funds. And of course, no matter what you do, yes, you still have to be prepared to cut loss. So like I said, this is high risk, okay? You still have to prepare for the worst case scenario. And this is actually what I recommend. Again, if you want, you can actually just play with the Excel spreadsheet. Okay, it's actually down here. Okay, suggested buying strategy. So let's say same thing, I have $90,000. I will break into 3 tranches. So one tranche, I have $30,000 each. Okay. And like I said, I'll spread over 5 years. That means each tranche, I will actually take about 18 months, which is about 1.5 years to deploy this $30,000. So it will go like this. First month, I'll buy $5,000. Okay, there's actually no margin. Why? Because I'm using own fund, I'm not borrowing anything. So second month, buy another 5,000, third month, buy another 5,000, so on and so forth. Until the 6 months, I actually put in my own $30,000. Okay, so month 7, I'm actually using borrowed money to buy already. I'm using borrowed money to buy. Of course, when I do that, then there's this margin ratio. Then, of course, after I borrow money, I have to start paying interests. So I can borrow money for the next 12 months to actually buy. Okay. Because 30,000, I can actually buy up to like 90,000. In fact, okay, I can borrow up to, buy for another next 12 months. And you can see that my worst margin ratio is only 1.57 instead of just now 1.41, 1.42. Okay. And at the same time, I have buffer funds. Don't forget, imagine I have 90,000, I need to deploy 30,000. I still have 60,000 buffer funds. Okay, so even if anything happen down here, price drop or whatever, I can actually top up my buffer funds. So you can see the process go on and on. So after my first tranche of 30,000, I deploy in already. Then I buy up to 90,000 already. Then I use my second $30,000. I do the same. Then after a while, I use the third 30,000. I use the same. So in this case, it's all spread out. I actually mitigate the risk of buying the wrong point. I have buffer funds to top up just in case the margin ratio actually drop below. Okay. So if you really want to try to do this, you should diversify. Long story short. Okay, now here is the question. Okay, this is actually quite interesting observation. Now, which method will actually allow you to pay off all the loan amount first? So of course, we actually borrowed money to buy, right? Then after we use dividend to pay off the loan. So the question here is this: which method will allow you to pay off faster? Is it the first method, whereby, okay, this case, I just go and buy everything up front, okay, then use the dividend general to pay off, or is it this way? Okay, I spread out my funds, okay, then of course use dividend to pay off. So which way, the first method, or the second method, I actually pay off my loan first? Yes, Heike, I'm assuming I have 90K right from the start. Yes.
Second method.
Second method. Okay, anybody else? Okay, don't forget your first method, your dividend get faster. You can see your dividend actually get faster. You actually have more dividend. Whereas the second method, your dividend is actually slower. Okay, Heike said first. Okay, first method. Anybody else? Anybody else? Which one will actually pay off first?
The first method can pay off first only if nothing happens, right? Like,
okay,
assuming all smooth, then the first method work. But second one, like you mentioned, if suddenly the stock price drop, that kind of thing, then you have to keep topping up.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you so much. Thanks. Yes. So it's actually the first method. But like what agent say, show hand very dangerous. Okay. What I'm actually show you here is this. If I go back to my Excel, if let's say I use the first method, okay, 90,000, I go and buy 27,000 worth of REITs, right? Okay, let me just put back to one first. Okay, how long do I actually need the dividend to pay off my interest and loan such that I own all the $27,000 worth of REITs? Assuming actually the REITs price don't change, I actually need about 180 months, which is about 15 years lah. About 15 years. Correct, huh? 180 divided by 12, about 15 years. For me to just pay off everything, pay off all the loan, then I own 270. Okay. If I actually do this, I actually do staggered. I buy a bit slower, I diversify. Okay. I just need only about one more year, 16 years. Okay. So my point here is this. So of course, down here, you accumulate your funds slower, you get your dividends slower. Okay. But you have lesser risk. And all you waste is just one more year to finish pay off your loan, which I think is actually not too bad. It's not like a very significant longer. You just wasted one more year, that's all. Also, definitely, I think this method is a lot safer. You have a buffer fund to manage your margin. Okay. At the same time, you diversify. You make sure that you're not subjected to buying the wrong timing, and of course, you'll be buying different REITs at different point in time. Okay, so this is basically margin on REITs. Like I said, what I've actually explained to you is just the structure, and hopefully, what I want to impress upon is this: you can see that it's actually very similar concept to buying a physical property for rental. Okay, the concept's exactly the same. We just again want to share ideas instead of buying another property, incurring ABSD, even if you do decoupling, like what John said, there's actually some issues involved. If you actually want to avoid all that, why don't you actually also consider this? You are also still buying properties. You are also still making money from leverage. You are also having a forced saving mechanism whereby the dividends will actually cover your loan for you. So that is another idea for you to explore. So to end off, I just want to share, of course, there's additional risk. Please take note, the interest rate can change. And of course, you have to make sure there's dividend. So like I said, yes, you can things like the REITs don't give dividend, blah, 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 so on and so forth. But that's why you actually very important have to diversify. And of course, the market risk. So the price is actually more volatile compared to property. As we can see just now, let's say the price drop too much, hit your margin call, then that can be very risky. Okay, conclusion, margin is a high risk, high return game, usually only when there's a clear risk mitigating strategy. So I know I'm repeating myself, but this is important. We are not recommending you to do margin on REITs. We are just giving you ideas. There are more than one way to get return from properties. Don't have to pay ABSD. This is just one of them. So if you're interested, of course, like I said, I have a REITs course in SGX. You may actually want to attend that one also to make sure that you know how to select your REITs. That one is free. So you can actually go there and take a look. Then if there's any question, yes, of course, feel free. We can actually discuss further before you really go and implement. So important to learn how to calculate the margin risk ratio. I have already sent you all the Excel spreadsheets. So please go and play around the margin risk ratio first before you actually go in.